Chapter 1277. What dash? The audience was in an uproar, their eyes wide open as they stared at Meng Yao in shock. They didn't think that the last item would be so explosive and novel. She was the school's princess, the idol of many boys. However, most of the students also knew that they would not be able to enjoy this kiss. After all, the starting price of 10,000 yuan was enough to make people flinch. Moreover, this was only the starting price. In a while, the price would increase to a terrifying number. As a board member of the school, Peng Zhan naturally attended this fundraiser as well. He was stunned when he heard that Yushu was auctioning off Meng Yao's kiss. What was the meaning of this? Judging from his daughter's reaction, it seemed like she didn't know. Was it Shu, the troublemaker, who did this again? Peng Zhan felt a headache coming on. If this kiss was won by Lin Yi, his daughter wouldn't say anything. But if it was won by someone else, then he'd be screwed. That was why Peng Zhan felt a headache coming on when he saw this. If Lin Yi wasn't going to make a move, then he'd have to do it himself. It was natural for a daughter to kiss her father. It wasn't a big deal. Bing Gong and Ji Feng looked at each other as well. This was a high school, and auctioning off a kiss was indeed a little overboard. But this was a public charity event, after all, and it wasn't their place to stop it. Moreover, the person in question was Peng Zhan's daughter, and if Peng Zhan wasn't doing anything, what could they possibly do? Jiang Wen's eyes lit up as he sat below the stage. He wasn't here for charity. He only had one goal, and that was to see Meng Yao. He heard that Meng Yao was the host, and so he brought Tai Zhao to Songshan's first school to find a seat among the audience. Jiang Wen, on the other hand, wasn't very interested in the previous auction items. As a young master of house in a family that supported the Firewolf gang, he had quite a collection. Many of them were smuggled in and treasured, so he didn't really care about the ordinary items. But this last item made Jiang Wen's eyes light up. And bro, Meng Yao's kiss. Isn't this what you want? I think this is a great opportunity for you. Tai Zhao chimed in happily from his side. But Meng Yao hasn't been very nice to me lately. If I get this kiss, won't she be happy? Jiang Wen was hesitating now that things had come to this point. How could that be? Since Meng Yao put her kiss up for auction, she has to accept that someone else will buy it. Tai Zhao said, why would she put it up for auction if she wasn't mentally prepared? And looking at this boxing arena, the only one who has the strength and is willing to spend money to get this kiss is you, brotherin. Other people wouldn't like her either. They would definitely feel that it wasn't worth it to spend so much money on a kiss. But you're different, brotherin. That makes sense. Jiang Wen nodded. So you're saying that it's prepared for me, then? Not for that, Lin Yi. How is that possible? If they really wanted Lin Yi to kiss her, they could have just done it at home. Why are they auctioning it off? They're just looking for trouble. Tai Zhao analyzed. You're right. Then I'll bid for it. Jiang Wen nodded, full of fighting spirit. This is Yao Yao's first kiss. Yushu continued to add fuel to the fire. Anyone want to bid? 10,000 is so cheap. How much? Jiang Wen asked softly as he looked at Tai Zhao. This wasn't a good price. If he gave too little, it'd seem like he was looking down on Meng Yao, and if he gave too much, it'd seem like he was a big spender. How about 50,000? Not too much, not too little? That's so expensive. I don't think anyone will fight with you. Tai Zhao said after some hesitation. All right. Jiang Wen raised his hand. I'll give you 50,000. Meng Yao frowned. She wasn't expecting Jiang Wen to be a part of this, and this made her feel a little troubled. What was Shu doing? What if Jiang Wen got the kiss? But Meng Yao couldn't lose her temper on stage. She was Peng Zhan's daughter and the host of the fundraiser. What would others think of her if she flipped out on the spot? Tang Yun was the one who announced the item, and others would think that she was unhappy with Tang Yun, and Yushu was adding fuel to the fire. What if she fell out with her best friend? Even if she explained that she didn't know about the kiss, who would believe her? Someone's bid 50,000. Anyone else? Yushu didn't expect Yao Yao's kiss to be sold for 50,000. That was a lot of money. 60,000. Lin Yi didn't know what Yushu was up to, but it was obvious that the miss didn't want to give the kiss to Jiang Wen. As her bodyguard and live-in friend, he had no choice but to make a move. 60,000. Someone has bid 60,000. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? That brave and handsome guy from before? Yushu looked at Jiang Wen. Jiang Wen saw Yushu's gaze and heard Yushu call him a brave and handsome guy. He felt good about himself all of a sudden, thinking that Yushu was hinting that the kiss was tailor-made for him. That made him even more excited. Otherwise, why would Yushu call him a brave and handsome guy? After all, Meng Yao liked brave people the most. Could it be that Yushu wanted him to be with Meng Yao? With that thought, Jiang Wen was filled with fighting spirit. He stood up and shouted, 100,000! I'll bid 100,000! Wah dash, the crowd was shocked again. One kiss was worth 100,000. Wasn't that too shocking? But in fact, 100,000 wasn't the highest price. The guys who were fantasizing about it gave up. Although they liked Meng Yao, 100,000 for a kiss was too high a price. 200,000. Lin, he stretched out his hand and said faintly. Although Lin, he didn't know if the miss would be embarrassed if he won the kiss. He knew that the miss would be unhappy if Jiang Wen won the kiss. Although the Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company's funds were tight, Lin, he could still take out 200,000. Other things aside, the pocket money that Peng Zhan gave him was enough for 200,000. But why did it feel so awkward to use the money that Peng Zhan gave him to buy a kiss from his daughter? Chapter 1278. Jiang Wen was pissed when he heard Lin Yi's second bid. He couldn't help but rage. You're just a little bodyguard, and you're going against me? How much money do you have? Peng Zhan gave it to you, didn't he? Using it to buy Meng Yao's kiss? Are you an idiot? Yeah, Tai Zhao nodded. This guy doesn't know his place. And bro, you can kill him with money if you want. That's right, you want to compete with me. And Jiang Wen? What a joke. Jiang Wen's underground arena had been making a lot of money recently, and it was a profitable business. Jiang Wen had made a lot of money, and now was the time to be rich. He stood up and said, 300,000. I'll pay 300,000. Someone's paying 300,000. Yushu said excitedly. 300,000. Anyone higher? With that, Yushu gave Xiao Xiao a look. Xiao Xiao knew what Yushu meant immediately. The two were of the same mind, as expected of a troublemaker duo. One look was all it took to know what the other was thinking. Xiao Xiao sneakily took out her phone and sent a text to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, honey, you can raise the price, but you have to let Jiang Wen win. Lin Yi was about to bid when his phone rang. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at the text, pausing. He didn't know what was going on, but he knew that Xiao Xiao had something up her sleeves. No matter how messed up she was with Yushu, she wouldn't joke about Meng Yao's kiss. Lin Yi smiled and raised his hand. 350,000. Lin Yi was going to say 500,000, but after seeing Xiao Xiao's text, he changed it to 350,000. He didn't want to scare Jiang Wen off. Ha! Lin Yi's starting to raise the price by 50,000. He's out of money. Tai Zhao said gleefully. That's for sure. I have to win this time. Jiang Wen smiled and stood up. 400,000. 400,000? Lin Yi felt that this was already a very high price. He estimated that Jiang Wen's mental capacity should be around 500,000, and so Lin Yi stood up after some hesitation. 450,000. 500,000. Jiang Wen said without hesitation. But Lin Yi didn't know if he should continue or not. He was afraid that Jiang Wen would give up and ruin Yushu and Xiao Xiao's plan. And so, Lin Yi raised his head to look at Xiao Xiao, who was giving him a look. Lin Yi estimated that the price was about right, and so Lin Yi reached out his hand and sat back down, looking like he had no choice but to give up. In truth, Lin Yi didn't even want to do it. As far as Yushu and Xiao Xiao were concerned, 500,000 was already a lot. What if Jiang Wen gave up on the deal? Then he wouldn't be able to achieve his goal of tricking him. But just as Yushu was about to say, 500,000, is there anyone else? Someone else called out. The bidder was Chu Pengzhan. 800,000. Pengzhan reached out his hand and said faintly. To Pengzhan, 800,000 was nothing. He could do a good deed and get a kiss from his daughter at the same time. It was a good deal. Lin Yi, on the other hand, paused. He didn't expect Pengzhan to make a bid when he gave up. Lin Yi looked at the stunned Xiao Xiao and Yushu on the stage, and he jumped in fright. He didn't want to let Pengzhan ruin these two girls' plans. And so, Lin Yi quickly forwarded Xiao Xiao's text to Pengzhan. Time was of the essence, and Lin Yi didn't have time to edit it, so he sent Lin Yi hubby as well. But he was sure that Peng Zhan would understand. Peng Zhan's phone rang after he called out the price. Peng Zhan sat back in his seat and pulled out his phone to look at the message. HM? Peng Zhan froze. Lin Yi, honey, you can raise the price, but you have to let in Jiang Wen get it. Lin Yi said. Lin Yi hubby? Peng Zhan blinked. How did he become Lin Yi's hubby? Did they send it to the wrong person? He quickly looked at the sender's number, but seeing that it was from Lin Yi, it must have been Lin Yi who forwarded it. It was probably either Tang Yin or Xiao Xiao who sent this message to Lin Yi, telling Lin Yi to give up. That meant that they didn't want to auction off Meng Yao's kiss, but had a backup plan? At that thought, Peng Zhan regretted that he'd rushed to bid. Wouldn't he scare Jiang Wen off? Plus, he'd increased the price by 300,000. Would Jiang Wen continue to increase the price? Indeed, Peng Zhan's sudden bid did scare Jiang Wen. He didn't expect Peng Zhan to suddenly bid. What was the meaning of this? Did he not want him to win Meng Yao's kiss? Or was he testing him? Why hadn't Peng Zhan made a bid before? Why did Lin Yi make a bid when Peng Zhan didn't? And so, Jiang Wen hesitated. Tai Zhao, what do you think Peng Zhan is doing? Why did he suddenly bid? And bro, I think that Peng Zhan is testing you, to see how much you care about Meng Yao. Meng Yao is a rich girl, and 500,000 for a first kiss isn't that much. So, Peng Zhan is trying to raise Meng Yao's value, and also to see if you really like Meng Yao. Tai Zhao analyzed. If you really like her, you wouldn't care about spending a few 100,000. If you don't, you'd give up. That makes sense. Jiang Wen patted Tai Zhao's shoulder. Then tell me, why didn't Peng Zhan bid when Lin Yi was bidding? Could it be that Peng Zhan has high hopes for Lin Yi? Not necessarily. I think it was because Lin Yi was bidding and Peng Zhan didn't need to bid. Now that Lin Yi gave up, he decided to bid. Tai Zhao said, I see. Then was that Meng Yao's first kiss? Could it be that Yushu made it up? Didn't she say that Meng Yao gave her first kiss to Lin Yi? Jiang Wen asked suspiciously. How can you believe Yushu's words? That girl is full of lies, and we've been tricked by her all these years. I think that she might have given her first kiss to Lin Yi, but definitely not to Meng Yao. Tai Zhao sighed. Can't you tell? Yushu seems to like Lin Yi a little, and she doesn't want to be separated from Meng Yao. That's why she's always urging Meng Yao to marry Lin Yi and be his first wife. Chapter 1279. Yushu thought that no one else was going to bid for 800,000, but her plan was ruined by Uncle Chu. She couldn't ask Xiao Xiao to send him a message, could she? Plus, Uncle Chu had already bid, so there was no point in hinting anymore. Jiang Wen hadn't made a bid yet. 1 million. Just when Yushu thought that it was over, Jiang Wen jumped up and bid again. Yushu was very happy. Wow, there's still a strong bidder. 1 million. Yao Yao's first kiss is already worth 1 million. Are there any higher bids? I don't think so, right? 1 million going once, 1 million going twice, 1 million going thrice sold. Congratulations, Jiang Wen, for getting Yao Yao's first kiss. Yushu couldn't wait any longer, as if she wanted to sell Meng Yao's first kiss to Jiang Wen. Seeing how much Yushu wanted him to get Meng Yao's first kiss, Jiang Wen was overjoyed. Even Meng Yao's best friend was helping him. He had a 90% chance of getting the miss this time. It seemed that Yushu had thought it through and wanted to push Meng Yao to him. Wah! Jiang Wen was so happy. He could feel that Yushu was helping him. Even Peng Zhan hadn't been able to make a bid before Yushu made the final call. Thank you for your support, everyone. Jiang Wen stood up. He couldn't wait any longer. Other auctioneers would just swipe their cards and transfer the money and get the item on the spot. Jiang Wen, on the other hand, naturally wanted to get Meng Yao's first kiss right now. Now, let's welcome Jiang Wen to the stage to receive the item. Yushu replaced Tang Yun and Meng Yao as the host. Meng Yao, on the other hand, didn't know what to do. What was this Shu trying to do? Was she crazy? She wanted her to kiss Jiang Wen? Why didn't she just kill her? Meng Yao was anxious, but she couldn't get angry. She just frowned and didn't know what to do. Jiang Wen, on the other hand, couldn't wait any longer as he walked up the stage. Jiang Wen, please swipe your card first. Yushu handed the POS machine to Jiang Wen and said seriously, Okay. I'll do it now. Jiang Wen smiled happily as he took out his bank card and swiped $1,000,000 over, whispering, "Thank you, Shu sis. Don't worry, if I manage to get Yao Yao, you'll get a lot of benefits." "Thank you for your generosity, Jiang Wen classmate." Yushu, on the other hand, ignored Jiang Wen. "Now, let's welcome Jiang Wen to receive the auction items." "Now? Can we do it now?" Jiang Wen was very excited, salivating as he looked at Meng Yao's cold face. "Of course," Yushu said. "Yao Yao's first kiss is already yours." "Waha, I won't hold back then." With that, Jiang Wen started walking towards Meng Yao. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Did Shu lose her mind? How could he do such a thing? Kissing Jiang Wen? "Jiang Wen, where did you go?" "Over here. Xiao Xiao's classmate will give you the item." Yushu grabbed Jiang Wen and pulled him back. "Xiao Xiao, isn't it Meng Yao?" Jiang Wen paused. Why would he want Xiao Xiao's first kiss? Xiao Xiao was pretty, but spending $1,000,000 to buy a kiss from someone like her. Wasn't he an idiot? Here it is. Xiao Xiao took out a water sculpture from a box and held it in her hands. "Jiang Wen classmate, this is for you. This is Meng Yao's first kiss." Wah. Jiang Wen paused. "What first kiss is this?" "This is the first kiss. Look." Xiao Xiao held up the sculpture. "This is a sculpture made from Meng Yao's kiss mark. This is Meng Yao's first kiss." The sculpture in Xiao Xiao's hands looked like the hand marks of celebrities, except that this was a kiss mark made into the crystal. It was a souvenir. "This is the first kiss?" Jiang Wen looked at the sculpture in Xiao Xiao's hands and almost cried. $1,000,000 for a piece of broken glass? Was there a mistake? This was a first kiss. Was this a scam? "Yeah. Isn't it written here? Meng Yao's first kiss," Yushu said, pointing at the sculpture in Xiao Xiao's hands. The crowd burst into laughters. All the students could see that Jiang Wen had been scammed. She was playing a word game, saying that this was Meng Yao's first kiss, but she didn't say that Meng Yao was the one who kissed him. Jiang Wen's face was very ugly. He didn't think that Yushu would come up with something like this. He finally understood that he'd been played by Yushu again. Jiang Wen wanted to curse. He'd spent so much money to buy a piece of trash like this. Meng Yao finally understood why Yushu was auctioning off her kiss. It was all for Jiang Wen's sake. Even Meng Yao didn't remember this sculpture, but she seemed to have made it with Yushu in a shop back in middle school. She'd never looked at it again after that. She didn't know how Yushu found it, but she took it out and sold it for $1,000,000. With that thought, Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that she'd worried for nothing. Shu was really evil, tricking Jiang Wen like this. $1,000,000 gone just like that. But while this sculpture was her own kiss mark, Meng Yao didn't really want to give it to Jiang Wen. This was her real kiss mark after all. What if Jiang Wen took it and did something disgusting to her? But in comparison, this was a result that Meng Yao could accept. If she was that worried, then Jiang Wen might take her picture and do something disgusting to her. Jiang Wen couldn't do anything. He'd been scammed, but he'd bought it willingly, and he couldn't get mad on the stage. If he did, wouldn't he look petty? Meng Yao's impression of him would be even worse. And so, Jiang Wen could only accept his fate. He walked over with an ugly smile on his face, taking the sculpture from Xiao Xiao's hands. But as soon as he touched it, it felt slippery, and with a whoosh, it fell off the stage, shattering into pieces. Chapter 1280. Fuck. It was only then that Jiang Wen realized that the sculpture was covered in a slippery substance, and his hand was still feeling sticky and slippery. Jiang Wen was about to explode. What the hell was this? Sorry, I spilled some lubricant on it, so it's a bit slippery. It's just that you broke it. It has nothing to do with me. Xiao Xiao said with an evil smile on her face. Jiang Wen's eyes widened as he clutched his chest. He was pissed to death. Lubricant? How could there be lubricant on the sculpture? This Xiao Xiao must have done it on purpose. Fuck. This girl was as bad as Yushu. He was screwed. Jiang Wen had been comforting himself with the fact that he bought a sculpture for $1,000,000. So be it. It was a broken piece of glass, but it was still Meng Yao's kiss mark. He couldn't use it, but he could still go home and fantasize about it. However, this time it was great. It was directly smashed into pieces. There was not even a single thought left. It directly turned into a large pile of glass shards. Wow, genuine classmate, you're so generous. 1 million for a sound, Yushu said as she looked at Jangwin with admiration. Jangwin wanted to curse, but he knew that he was on a stage and Meng Yao was watching. If he was too stingy, Meng Yao would hate him even more. He had no choice but to cry and laugh. It's okay, haha. With that, Jangwin didn't have the face to stay on the stage anymore. He got off the stage and walked back to his seat with his head lowered. The audience didn't know that there was lubricant on the sculpture. They thought that Jangwin was angry that he bought 1 million for a broken piece of glass, and so he smashed it. He didn't want to smash it, so he pretended that he accidentally dropped it on the ground and broke it. Meng Yao let out a breath of relief. Even she started to pity Jangwin. This poor guy. Meeting Yushu and Xiao Xiao was just as bad luck. These two girls were really ruthless, too. Not only did they scam him of 1 million, they even went as far as to smash the sculpture. Meng Yao, naturally, didn't believe that the lubricant was accidentally spilled on the sculpture. Xiao Xiao probably did it on purpose. Why didn't she warn Jangwin first? Something like this could have been avoided with just a reminder, so he must have purposely made Jangwin fall on the ground. Meng Yao didn't have to worry about Jangwin doing anything bad with the crystal statue, though. This made her feel much better. Xiao Xiao and Yushu, on the other hand, looked at each other, seeing the evil smirk in each other's eyes. He didn't know what to say as he looked at Jangwin's sad face. But Yushu and Xiao Xiao, these two girls were really something. Jangwin had no choice but to swallow his grievances. The fundraiser came to an end after Jangwin's high price. The total amount was close to 2 million, and to the orphanage, it was a drop in the bucket. But that was all they could do, at least lessening the pressure on the orphanage. He could have told Lingshan not to be so strict on the theft, but he didn't do that. Lingshan had her own principles, and he didn't want her to change anything. After all, what Xiaoka was doing wasn't right. She could only continue to live in the dark and rely on herself. But even if it was 2 million, Xiaoka was already very happy. At the very least, this 2 million was enough to last him for a period of time if he continued to live such a simple and hard life. After getting kicked by Yu Feng rushed to his apartment in Songshan and called his father, Shueixing. He couldn't hold it in anymore. He had to teach Yi a lesson. Phone? Why are you calling me now? Aren't you in school? Shueixing picked up the phone, confused. Dad, I got kicked by Yi today, and I can't hold it in anymore. I'm going to kill him. Yu Feng screamed as soon as he picked up the phone. Oh, Shueixing paused. You got kicked by Yi? What happened? It's like this. Yu Feng told his father what happened today. I just casually cursed at his girlfriend, and he suddenly came on stage and kicked me off. Don't you think that's too much? With Yi's protective personality, it's not strange. But it's been so long, and you still don't know Yi's background, and you don't know what level Yi's strength is at, either. I'm worried that you'll get into trouble if you act rashly. Shueixing was a rather calm person, and he looked at the situation more holistically. Yu Feng, the noble house meeting is starting soon, and it's best not to cause trouble now. House Xiao is so powerful, and the Xiao family has the hidden house pies help as well. Why aren't they causing trouble for Yi? There's probably more to this than meets the eye, but I can't accept this. I've lost all my face today, and if I don't get it back, I won't be able to stay in school anymore. Yu Feng said, unwilling to give up. That's something that can't be done. You have to learn to endure in order to achieve greatness. Shueixing sighed. House Yu used to be the strongest house in the world, but now that they have the support of House Pai, the Xiao family isn't much weaker than us, and the hidden House Xiao is even stronger than us. If they don't make a move, why should we be the ones to do it? If we don't handle this right, and there really is some sort of master behind Yi, then it'd be a disaster for House Yu. Annihilation? It can't be that serious, right? Don't we have the support of the hidden House Yu behind us? Yu Feng jumped, calming down quite a bit. Chapter 1281. SSSS. Yu Feng sucked in a cold breath. So you're saying that Yi's background might be really strong? Yes, That's why I didn't let you do anything rash. I've been talking to your brother these past few days, and I know these secrets. I didn't have time to remind you. Shuaishing said, Thank goodness you didn't act rashly. Man, so you're just going to give up like this? Yufeng wasn't too happy, but after hearing his father's words, he felt that things were getting serious. He was arrogant, but he wasn't an idiot. He knew that his father wouldn't lie to him. How about this? Don't look into Lin Yi's background for now. Focus on getting close to Ling Shan, and I'll announce this decision during the Noble House meeting. It'll increase House Yu's power and influence in the Noble House meeting. Shuaishing sighed. Now, that Family Shao has House Pai's support. They're threatening our position. If we let Family Shao grow, then we might not be able to control the Noble House meeting and the ranking. So, let's put Lin Yi's matter aside for now. All right, but Ling Shan doesn't seem to like me. She's a little cold, Yufeng said, a little troubled. Then I won't go to school. I don't have the face to go there anymore. All right, you don't have to go to school for now. We'll wait until the Noble House meeting is over and we confirm the position of the new generation of House Yu. Then we'll go all out to deal with Lin Yi. It'll be easier that way. Let him have his fun for a few days. Yufeng really wanted to cause trouble for Lin Yi, but Shuaishing was stopping him. He could only give up on that thought, but he couldn't let it out. It was just that he was pissed off that he couldn't vent it out. Time flew by, and Xiao Xiao's illness acted up again. Although it happened right in front of Lin, he had to use half of his blood to wake her up. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Yi was a practitioner, he probably wouldn't have been able to hold on. Just as old Lin had said, Xiao Xiao's condition was getting worse and worse. Each time it happened, it was more severe than the last, and the cold energy in her body was getting more and more overbearing. A little bit of blood was enough to suppress it, but now it took more than half of his blood to be effective. This made Lin Yi's heart sink. If this continued, it would probably be all of his blood next time. Although Lin Yi had the art of dragon mastery to heal, Lin Yi didn't know if his blood would always be effective. Now, he had developed a resistance to the cold yin qi. This time it was very obvious. But in order to reassure Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi still had a smile on his face when Xiao Xiao woke up, as if nothing had happened. I'm alive again. Xiao Xiao opened her eyes and looked at the nervous Lin Yi, Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun. Tang Yun had rushed to the villa as soon as she received Xiao Xiao's message, waiting for her to wake up. Haha, with me by your side, of course you'll come back to life. Lin Yi smiled. I told you I won't let you die. Lin Yi felt like he was going against his will when he said that, but he had no other choice. He could only comfort Xiao Xiao like this. After all, it was more important for her to be in a good mood. I thought I wouldn't be able to come back to life this time. Xiao Xiao seemed to be quite open about it. I got my life back, thank you, Lin Yi, honey. What are you thanking me for? Isn't it my duty to save you? Lin Yi smiled. All right, let's get some rest. It's getting late. Tang Yun, why don't you sleep here tonight? There's a guest room upstairs. Lin Yi was very weak right now. He had half of his blood left, but he was holding on. He couldn't wait to enter the jade space to heal. Okay. Tang Yin could see Lin Yi's tiredness and nodded. Today was Friday, and there was no school tomorrow. The day after tomorrow was Shirhan's concert, so it wasn't a bad idea for Tang Yun to stay here. But would Meng Yao be willing? Then let's sleep together. My bed upstairs is very spacious. Yin, it's not like we've never slept together before. You're not shy, are you? Meng Yao smiled. Of course not. Tang Yin shook her head. The four of them were very familiar with each other now, so there was no need to be shy. Tang Yin was tired as well. It was best to rest as soon as possible. Lin Yi didn't care about them. He returned to his room, exhausted, and channeled the art of dragon mastery to sleep. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was fine now. She sat up from the sofa. She seemed to be in a good state, but she wasn't in a good mood. What's wrong? Xiao Xiao, you don't look too happy? Tang Yin noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Xiao. Man, Xiao Xiao sighed. Yin sis, my body. I know. This time, I thought I wouldn't be able to live anymore, but Lin Yi, honey, pulled me back from the gates of hell. But next time, it won't be so simple. I don't know how long I can live with you guys. Don't talk nonsense. Didn't Lin Yi say that he has a way to cure you? Why are you thinking so much? Tang Yin didn't say anything on the surface, but her heart ached for no reason. She saw how Lin Yi had healed Xiao Xiao today. Xiao Xiao fainted in the living room, so Lin Yi didn't carry her back to the room. He quickly cut his wrist and used his blood to heal her. Tang Yun, the miss, and Shu saw how much blood Lin Yi used. They saw the worry on Lin Yi's face as well. Lin Yi didn't say much, but anyone who wasn't stupid would know how heavy Lin Yi's heart was. Next time, it wouldn't be this easy. Even if he drained all of Lin Yi's blood dry, he might not be able to wake Xiao Xiao up. Yeah, didn't you say that you'd live with us forever and go to university together? Meng Yao had accepted Xiao Xiao as well. At first it was sympathy, but then it was friendship, and after living together, they became best friends who could talk about anything. Her relationship with Xiao Xiao wasn't much worse than Xiao Xiao and Tang Yun's relationship. The miss didn't want Xiao Xiao to die, but there were some things that she couldn't change. Chapter 1282. Haha. All right, we'll be the troublemaker duo, sweeping through the universe. Huh. Xiao Xiao started laughing, but after that, she felt a bit sad. Actually, you guys don't need to try and convince me. You know what my body is like. Yin Yin sis, I'm actually going to die, right? Look at how you're all centered around me. You even gave me Lin Yi hubby, because I'm going to die, right? Of course not. Didn't we agree on this? It's just a bet. Tang Yin shook her head. All right, I've thought it through. If I die, then so be it. If there's a next life, then we'll be sisters again. If there isn't, then I'll be in heaven waiting for you guys to come and accompany me. It's nothing. Xiao Xiao smiled. Actually, it's been more than 10 years, and I knew that this day would come. I'm already very happy and satisfied. All right, let's go to sleep then. At least we're happy now. Meng Yao nodded. Xiao Xiao was covered in Lin Yi's blood, and some of it had dried up. It was very uncomfortable, so she needed a hot bath first. I'll go shower. You guys? Xiao Xiao asked. Well, wait a bit. You shower first. Meng Yao knew that Xiao Xiao wasn't feeling well, so she didn't hesitate to let Xiao Xiao take the bath. I'll shower with Xiao Xiao. Yushu said, wanting to join in. The bathroom was big, and it was more than enough for the two of them. Xiao Xiao didn't reject. She was quite familiar with Yushu now, and it wasn't a big deal to be naked with her. Xiao Xiao turned on the hot water and entered the bathroom first. Yushu said that she was going to get some body wash, and that she'd be back in a bit. Xiao Xiao didn't mind, but just as Xiao Xiao was taking off her clothes and enjoying herself in the bathtub, Yushu came running in with a camera, excited. Xiao Xiao, come. I'll take a picture of you. Xiao Xiao jumped in fright. She didn't expect Yushu to run in with a camera. Then, wouldn't he have been recorded completely? Xiao Xiao couldn't help but get pissed at how excited Yushu was. She subconsciously jumped up and tried to grab the camera from Yushu's hand. However, when she stood up, she suddenly realized that she was completely exposed in front of the camera. But now, Yushu had bought all of them. Wow, Xiao Xiao, you have a great figure too. Yushu dodged as she slapped away. Hurry up and set it up. I was going to use it for Shield Bro's memories after you're dead. You should cooperate so that you can live forever in Shield Bro's heart. Since Xiao Xiao had seen through life and death, she naturally didn't mind Yushu joking around a bit. But Yushu's actions made her really shy, even though she already agreed with what Yushu said. He had to admit that Yushu was right. What if Lin Yi missed him after he died? He could look at his own video and reminisce about it. But this video of him not wearing clothes was a little embarrassing. Xiao Xiao didn't mind letting Lin Yi see it, but she was a little embarrassed. Plus, she was afraid that Yushu would turn around and give the video to Lin Yi. She'd be too ashamed to face anyone if that happened. If she were to wait until she was dead, then so be it. She wouldn't know anything once she was dead, so there was no need to worry. And so, Xiao Xiao thought of a good idea. She was going to drag Yushu down with her. Let's do it. How do you want to do it? Xiao Xiao didn't resist anymore, ready to cooperate with Yushu. Yushu paused. She didn't expect Xiao Xiao to think it through so quickly. But Yushu didn't think too much about it. As far as she was concerned, Xiao Xiao wanted to leave something behind in front of Lin Yi, and so she let her guard down. She let Xiao Xiao do all sorts of seductive poses, and Xiao Xiao played along. And so, Yushu's guard was at its lowest. What she didn't expect was for Xiao Xiao to suddenly grab the camera from Yushu's hand and point it at Yushu herself. Wah, stupid Shu, you fell for it? It's my turn now. Lin, honey saw me, and he saw you. Here, pose. Your boobs are so big. Xiao Xiao stepped to the side after taking the camera, so that Yushu wouldn't take it away again. Yushu didn't expect Xiao Xiao to be so cooperative before, but with Xiao Xiao's personality, it wasn't hard to understand why she would do that. Xiao Xiao could do what she could do, too. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Shield bro's already seen me a couple of times. It's nothing. Yushu decided to be generous and let Xiao Xiao take the video, thinking that she'd have to wait for Lin Yi to see this video. Yushu considered herself as the second wife, but the two didn't have a real relationship yet. She didn't feel like it was a good idea to just show Lin Yi a video. But since she was so happy today, it didn't matter if she took a video. And so, at first, it was just one person, but then it was two people. Finally, it was two people working together to film the Miss and Tangyan. And so, the Miss and Tangyan were in for a bad time. The video and the DV couldn't be shown to Lin Yi at all. It had just become a joke between the sisters. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't expect Yushu and Xiao Xiao to make such a big commotion. After returning to his room, Lin Yi entered the training space immediately, absorbing the energy in the jade space like crazy. I'm afraid this will be the last time, Jiao Yazi said coldly as he looked at Lin Yi. What last time? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. He understood, but he didn't want to understand. The last time we'll use this method to save her, Jiao Yazi said flatly. I don't believe you don't understand. I understand, but why? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. So this was what Jiao Yazi was talking about. Lin Yi didn't want to accept this, but there was nothing he could do. Chapter 1283. You're giving me a hard time. Lin Yi looked at Jiao Lao helplessly. Can't you let me dream a little? Why did you have to say it out loud? I'm saying it out loud, so you can prepare yourself and adjust your mentality. As a practitioner, your heart is already in a mess. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but if you're not in a good mood, it will definitely affect your training speed. This isn't what I want to see, Jiao Yazi said. All right, since you can see through it, is there any other way? Lin Yi asked. If my real body was here, there shouldn't be a problem, but there's no other way. I'm just a shadow, or rather, a strand of soul. I can only exist in the jade pendant. There's no other way. Jiao Lao shook his head. Jiao Yazi's words made Lin Yi fall into deep thought. Lin Yi didn't want to accept this result, but there was nothing he could do. Forget it. Let's just go with the flow. Lin Yi sighed. House Kong had recently bought a large amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine, but the situation they expected didn't happen. From their perspective, no matter how much raw materials they squeezed out, it wouldn't be able to withstand such a huge amount of consumption. However, Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was starting to be sold on a large scale nationwide, and the supply seemed to be very abundant. Moreover, according to House Kang's investigation, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was building a factory with great fanfare. Building a factory? What did this mean? It meant that the raw materials were very abundant, but the size of the factory limited the production capacity. This result made the people of the Kong family extremely shocked. What's going on? Can someone tell us? Where did they get the raw materials? Dr. Kong was furious when he heard the news. Didn't they say that they were losing money? Which family would lose money like this? Building a factory to increase production capacity just to lose money? Dad, don't get angry first. This matter needs to be investigated further. They might not be building a factory to produce injury medicine. Maybe they have a new product they want to sell. Kong Guifeng hesitated and stood out. The idea of buying a large amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was brought up by Kong Guifeng and Zhaolong. Now that there was a problem, he naturally had to explain himself. Let's not care about their factory first. What I want to ask is, where did they get the raw materials? House Kong has used up almost all of our liquid funds in order to buy Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine. We filled up the warehouse. Even when our Kong family was in its heyday, Our warehouse was never so full. What did they use to produce the injury medicine? We've never produced this much, even during the harvest years. Miracle Dr. Kong was about to explode. He suddenly slapped the table and roared. These are only the ones bought by our Kong family, and there are already so many of them. What about the others in the market? What's the market? They're buying more than us. They have everything. Even if we buy more, they still have more. Dr. Kong accidentally went to House Kang's warehouse today and found that it was filled with Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. That was when he felt that something was wrong. How many raw materials did they need to produce this? So he immediately called for Kong Guifeng, who was in charge of purchasing materials. Kong Guifeng was shocked when he saw the amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine in the warehouse. Wasn't this too much? He only ordered his subordinates to buy as much medicine as they could get, but he didn't check how much he got himself. Plus, it had only been a few days. Kong Guifeng thought that they couldn't get that much even if they bought more. But looking at it today, it seemed like there was a problem. They bought too much, and it didn't seem to affect the market at all. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was sold as usual, and there was never a situation where there was a shortage. This isn't nephew Xiaoming in charge of the other party's supply channel? Kong Guifeng wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. It seemed like his father was really angry. But Kong Guifeng didn't expect the situation in the warehouse to be so full. So without a choice, Kong Guifeng could only push the blame to his nephew Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming was in charge of finding out the other party's supply channel. He didn't get the information, so what did it have to do with him? He had only made a wrong judgment when he had no information. Kong Mingming was looking at the joke coldly. He didn't agree to buying a large amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine, but no one listened. Now that they were in trouble, he was very happy. But he didn't expect his uncle to be so shameless and push the blame to him. Uncle, you can't say that. Back then, I was against your way of doing things. I already said that the other party might have changed the formula and removed a few expensive herbs. That's why the cost was reduced and the output was increased. But you didn't believe me? Now you're pushing the blame to me. Isn't that a bit wrong? Kong Mingming jumped out and retorted. Kong Guifeng suddenly remembered that Kong Mingming did object to it before. He didn't think much of it, but now that Kong Mingming reminded him, he remembered that Kong Mingming did say those words. No, he predicted it again. Xiaoming, you seem to be able to predict things like a god recently. You seem to have predicted it a few times. Xiaolong said faintly as he looked at Kong Mingming. Xiaolong sounded like he was praising Kong Mingming, but anyone could tell that he was suspecting that Kong Mingming was colluding with outsiders to frame House Kong. Enough! Dr. Kong looked at Kong Guifeng and Xiaolong. We're trying to push the blame away. He slammed the table and scolded. Shut up. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Xiaoming did say that before, but that was to remind us, out of good intentions. I'm the one who's lost my mind and listened to you two trash. No matter how much of a spoiled brat Xiaoming is, he wouldn't collude with outsiders to frame House Kong. House Kong is his house, and when he becomes the head of the house, all these things will be his. What is he framing? Chapter 1284. Yes, Xiaoming's right. The most important thing right now is to solve the problem. You two pieces of trash, look at Xiaoming. This is what it means to care about House Kong. And you two? Pushing the blame away when something happens. Isn't House Kong still your House Kong? Dr. Kong scolded. Xiaolong and Kong Guifeng were troubled. What was wrong with this Kong Mingming? His luck was surprisingly good these days, but he couldn't say these words out loud. Grandpa, uncle, and brother are actually worried, but we're just a little flustered. Kong Mingming didn't wait for Dr. Kong to ask and started talking. I think that we, House Kong, need to take some measures to minimize our losses from this mistake. First of all, we have to stop buying the injury medicine from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. I suggest that we bring the injury medicine to our lab for testing and comparison. We might not be able to analyze the formula, but we can see if there are any of the precious herbs in Miracle Dr. Kang's golden creation. I think this shouldn't be a problem for you, right? Kong Xiaoming spoke leisurely. What he said was what he said last time, but this time it was more professional and strict. This was something Kong Xiaoming had prepared beforehand. Although Kong Xiaoming didn't foresee that his big brother would be at a disadvantage, he was unwilling to accept it last time. He had been praying for his big brother's plan to fail, so he made some preparations beforehand. He didn't think that it would come in handy now. Yes, Xiaoming is right. Xiaolong, bring some of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine for analysis, and see if there are any precious herbs in it. This is very important. If there aren't any, we'll be screwed. Miracle Dr. Kong knew that something wasn't right. Then we'll have to sell our stock as soon as possible. Yes, Grandpa. Xiaolong had no choice. Kong Ming was in the limelight now, but he still nodded with a dark expression. It wasn't an easy task to analyze the ingredients of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. With the current science and technology, it was not easy to analyze the formula. If it was so easy, then there would be no such thing as a secret formula in the world. Those outstanding food ingredients would also be analyzed by others, not to mention those finished pills. Back then, the Kong family had expended so much effort to analyze the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but they hadn't been able to figure it out. In the end, they had come up with a **T conclusion, so one could see how difficult it was to analyze the formula. However, it was much easier to test whether there were a few known components in a certain drug. As long as they analyzed the characteristics of those components, they would be able to determine it. As a result, the test report of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was sent back to House Kong as fast as possible. Looking at the series of red crosses on the report, Dr. Kong almost fainted. The red crosses meant that the ingredients weren't present, which meant that there wasn't a single rare ingredient in Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. No wonder the medicine was so cheap, there weren't any of those rare ingredients. Naturally, the cost would be lower. No, there's none. Dr. Kong threw the report at Kong Guifeng's face. You unfilial son, take a good look at yourself. You're a grown man, and your brain isn't as good as Xiaoming's. You should have gone to the lab a long time ago, but now you've got a whole warehouse full of trash. You've taken up so much of House Kang's liquidity. What should we do? Father, please don't be angry. I didn't think of this, did I? Plus, Xiaoming was the one who gave me Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. You saw it too? It's exactly the same as ours. Who would have thought that they would cut corners? Kong Guifeng frowned. You can't blame me for this, can you? Kong Guifeng didn't finish his sentence, but anyone could understand what he was implying. The only person to blame was Kong Ming, who told him to bring back a fake prescription. Fuck your mother. Dr. Kong heard his eldest son's words and finally exploded. He jumped up and slapped Kong Guifeng's face. You're blaming others for your own mistakes? Xiaoming did bring back the prescription, but Xiaoming said that Guan Xiumin might have cut corners and changed the prescription. Why didn't you hear that? Do you have a choice? Kong Guifeng was slapped and immediately became quiet. He covered his swollen face, depressed. I'm sorry, Father. Grandpa, since it's already happened, let's think of a way to solve it. Although Father and I are both at fault, we're doing this for House Kong. We want to deal a blow to Miracle Dr. Guan. Xiaolong quickly tried to smooth things over. Then tell me, what should we do? Dr. Kong nodded and asked. First, we should get rid of the stock in the warehouse as soon as possible. These things have an expiration date, and if they expire, we'll lose a lot of money. Xiaolong said, if it comes down to it, we'll have to lose some money and get rid of them. Since they cut corners on the medicine, the effects won't be as good as before. If there's a negative reaction in the market and we don't get rid of them in time, we'll lose money. That's the only way. Miracle Dr. Kong sighed. House Kang's recent financial situation can't take much more. House Kang's main business has been attacked by Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and it's not what it used to be. House Xiao broke off the engagement with us. It's one wrong step, and every step is wrong. Not to mention becoming a noble house. It'll be hard for us to maintain our previous glory. Grandpa, we shouldn't give up. We should take the initiative. Since we know that Miracle Dr. Guan cut corners on the raw materials, we can make a statement and attack them for their shoddy business practices. We'll tarnish their reputation. Xiaolong suggested, unwilling to admit defeat. He wanted to change his image in front of his grandpa. One had to know that he was the third-generation head of House Kong. But now, it had become Kong Xiaoming out of nowhere. He couldn't accept it. Chapter 1285. What? What's wrong with that? Xiaolong froze. What makes you think that their injury medicine is the same as our golden creation? Are you going to tell the media that you asked Xiaoming to bribe the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's company to get the formula? If that's the case, then the reputation of our Dr. Kang's medical group will be ruined. Dr. Kong humphed coldly. Also, if you list out those precious herbs, our Dr. Kang's golden creation formula will be in danger of being leaked. You have to know that the uniqueness of our formula lies in those precious herbs. If someone else learns about it and tries to figure it out, there might be a Miracle Dr. Li or Miracle Dr. Wang appearing tomorrow. Isn't that just asking for trouble? Grandpa, I'm sorry, I didn't think it through. Xiaolong lowered his head, admitting his wrongdoing. He was too eager to turn things around, and he didn't think before he spoke. Xiaoming, what do you think? I didn't think that the person I looked down on the most in the whole House Kong is the smartest one now. Miracle Dr. Kong was very satisfied with Kong Xiaoming, especially since he'd performed so many miraculous feats. Miracle Dr. Kong valued him even more. Grandpa, I think we should do something else while we're dealing with the injury medicine. We can't just sit here and wait for death. Kong Ming said, the meeting of the noble houses is about to start. We have to do something, or we won't have a chance this time. That's right. We can't just sit here and wait for death. We have to take the initiative. This is what the descendants of House Kong should do. Dr. Kong nodded. Tell me your opinion. First, we're too weak. We should get a noble house to help us. The best one to help us is actually the Xiao family. After all, our two houses have an engagement. Compared to other noble houses, it's easier to get in touch with them. Kong Ming analyzed proudly. Actually, everyone understood his analysis. It was just that they felt that there was no hope. However, Kong Ming didn't care so much. He only wanted to improve his image and the right to speak. So, no matter how feasible this matter was, he would bring it up first. Well, that makes sense. Dr. Kong nodded. Xiaolong couldn't take it any longer. Makes sense? What bullsh** T logic? He knew that his grandpa liked Kong Ming now. So whatever he said, his grandpa would agree. Xiaolong calmed down and stood up to refute. Grandpa, Xiaoming, although the Xiao family used to have a good relationship with us, but now, the last time we went to visit the Xiao family didn't even acknowledge us. Do you think the Xiao family would still like us? What Xiaolong said is indeed a problem. Xiaoming, what do you think? Dr. Kong didn't have much ability or brains. He was just an illiterate who didn't even graduate from primary school. It was only by chance that he obtained the formula of golden creation that he was able to establish House Kong. In fact, he didn't have any ability at all. He didn't even have basic medical knowledge, let alone managing a family. But because of the powerful golden creation formula, other families came to suck up to them, so it wasn't a big deal for House Kong to be a little mediocre. But things were different now. Miracle Dr. Kang's pretense of being mysterious and unfathomable didn't work anymore. He'd trained himself to think and do things like a leader, but his foundation was too weak. He'd be the first one to panic when something happened to House Kong. This is related to the second thing I wanted to say. You guys have to let me finish. Kong Ming rolled his eyes. He actually connected the first and second things together. He was very proud of himself. He was a genius to be able to connect these two things together. Oh, then hurry up and tell me, what is the second thing? Dr. Kong didn't suspect anything. The second thing is that I need to find a formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing as soon as possible. As long as our Kong family has the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, we will be able to create the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. To our Kong family, it will be a huge boon. The Xiao family knows that we can create the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. They will probably take the initiative to mend their relationship with us. If we have the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, the other families will definitely come to us for help. Wouldn't it be a piece of cake for us to become an aristocratic family? Kong Ming Ming said in one breath. After he finished speaking, he was a little impressed with himself. He was too amazing, too awesome to be able to speak so fluently. He was a genius. Good idea. Good idea. Our Kong family has Xiaoming. The heavens are truly blessing us. Dr. Kong slapped the table and laughed heartily. Grandpa, but Shuamin has the formula as well. This way, we won't be the only ones with the formula, and we won't have an obvious advantage. Xiaolong, on the other hand, was singing a different tune. He knew that Xiaoming was bullshitting, and everyone knew that, but Xiaoming just had to link it all together. He couldn't help but be impressed that his brother had such an unreasonable brain. That's not it, Kong Ming Ming said. It said that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is made from some rare herbs, and the production of these herbs is limited every year. It's very rare, so it's a matter of competition. Whoever can get their hands on these rare herbs first will have the advantage. I think that with our relationship with the pharmacists, even if we can't get all of these rare herbs, we'll be able to get a portion of them. Even if we only get a portion, we'll have a say in the matter. After all, the production of these herbs is low, and there's only a small amount every year. The rarer something is, the greater its value. We'll still have an advantage then. That's right. Xiaolong, look at your brother. When it comes to academics, he's not as good as you, but he's very good at scheming. You have to be impressed. But a scholar can't be the head of a house, after all. The head of the house needs to have brains. I think Xiaoming's idea is very doable. Let's do it. Dr. Kong said happily. Yes, Grandpa. Kong Ming Ming agreed happily. Chapter 1286. But even if it was a chain reaction, finding the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was something Xiaolong didn't think was possible. But Kong Ming Ming just had to pull it out like it was easy. Xiaolong wasn't willing to accept this. He was the head of the house. The words his grandfather said to him before the Yinjing auction were still ringing in his ears, but now the head of the house was his own brother, Kong Ming Ming. He wasn't willing. He really wasn't. Since Xiaoming's so confident, and he was the one who came up with this idea, then I'll leave the search for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing to Xiaoming. Xiaolong smiled, looking at Xiaoming as if he had faith in him. Xiaoming, the hope of House Kang's rise rests on you. That, of course, no problem. Kong Ming Ming had no choice but to agree. Even if Xiaolong didn't say anything, he'd be the one doing all this anymore. There was no way he'd change the person, so he might as well agree first. He'd achieved his goal of beating down Xiaolong. Good. I'm happy that Xiaoming is so responsible. Dr. Kong nodded, happy. Since that's the case, then it's settled. Go Weifeng, you go get in touch with the Xiao family, and Xiaoming, you go find a recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Xiaolong, hurry up and think of a way to sell the miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine in the warehouse. House Kang's funds are being used up too much. Even if we get the recipe, we'll need a lot of money to develop it. Yes, everyone agreed at the same time. Sui Pu, on the other hand, had nothing else to do. He'd already been like this for the rest of his life. There was no need to show anything else. His son, Kong Ming Ming, had been chosen by Dr. Kong to be the next head of House Kong. Sui Pu could continue being a spoiled brat because of his son's status. The leisurely days flew by quickly, and these days the villa was filled with the sounds of Xiao Xiao, the Miss, and Shu's laughter. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of Su Shihan's concert. Miss Shu, Yun Yun, and Xiao Xiao had been waiting for this day for a long time. Su Shihan could be said to be the idol of many young people. Boys like her, girls liked her too. It wasn't just because Su Shihan was beautiful, her voice was sweet, and her voice was pleasant to the ears. It was also because of her purity. Ever since her debut, there had been no scandals, and there had never been any negative photos or videos. In this era, Su Shihan was indeed an anomaly. But Su Shihan, who didn't take off her clothes, was more popular than those who took off their clothes. This meant that most people still liked pure celebrities. Han, what do you think? If you really can't do it, just announce the cancellation of the concert? Wang Sis looked at Su Shirhan with concern. It's okay, Sister Wang. I just need to rest for a while. The fans are already here, and some of them came from other places. If the concert is canceled, they'll be really sad. Su Shirhan shook her head and smiled bitterly. It's okay, I'll grit my teeth and get through it. Then don't force yourself. If you really can't handle it, just stop it. I'll find an excuse to change clothes or a stage malfunction to stall for some time. Wang Sis said, Do you understand, Han? I understand. Don't worry, Wang Sis, I'm not a kid anymore. Su Shirhan smiled. Wang Sis, Su Jianong is here. At this time, the bodyguard Feng Sanhuang pushed the door open and reported. He wants to see Miss Su. Oh, what's he here for? Wang Sis paused. All right, I'll go see him. In fact, Wang Sis still had a sliver of hope. She hoped that Qibing would change his mind and not make those unreasonable requests. He would just accept some money and help Su Shirhan cure her illness. Otherwise, with Qibing's conditions, Su Shirhan wouldn't agree to it. Qibing would lose both his money and himself. In fact, Qibing didn't think that he would lose both his money and himself. He sent Su Jianong here to threaten Su Shirhan. He was getting impatient. He had waited for so long, and Su Shirhan still hadn't come for treatment. This made Qibing's heart itch. Such a beauty, he couldn't hold her in his arms. Qibing didn't want to give up, so he sent Su Jianong here to ask Su Shirhan if she wanted to cure her illness or not. If she didn't want to, there wouldn't be a chance in the future. Mr. Su, why are you here at this time? Wang Sis came to the guest room and saw Su Jianong. Although she was still holding a grudge against Qibing's words, she didn't seem to have any inappropriate behavior. Manager Wang, I don't need to tell you why I'm here. You should know. Su Jianong smiled and didn't beat around the bush. He went straight to the point. Master Bing asked me to ask Miss Su something. Are you going to cure her illness or not? You have to know that Master Bing's patience is limited. Mr. Su, of course we want to cure her, but Master Bing's conditions, we can't do that. If you need money, just tell us. Even if we have to sell everything we have, we will still come up with the money. But if young Master Zhao still asks for those unrealistic conditions, then we can only regret it. Wang Sis said, Manager Wang, do you mean Miss Su's will? In other words, there's no room for discussion? Su Jianong's face darkened. No room for discussion, Wang Sis said firmly. My will is Miss Su's will. If that's the case, then I'll go back and report. But Master Bing also said that if Miss Su doesn't agree, then there's no room for discussion in the future. You guys have no room for discussion, and we have no room for discussion. Su Jianong said faintly. Manager Wang, good luck. I won't see you out. Wang Sis was infuriated as well. This Zhao Qibing was really a pervert. He didn't want to earn money and instead wanted to get intimate with her. But Xiaohan wasn't an ordinary celebrity. She wouldn't agree to his unreasonable request. There was basically no room for negotiation. So Wang Sis didn't mind offending Su Jianong. After sending Su Jianong away, Wang Sis couldn't help but sigh. It seemed that her request for medical treatment was a complete failure. If Xiaohan was an ordinary person, or if her looks weren't so outstanding, then perhaps she could just spend some money, but... Chapter 1287. As Su Shirhan's bodyguard, Feng Sanhuang always had this kind of expression on his face, but it was also because of this that Su Shirhan and Wang Sis didn't put up their guard against him at all. He wasn't like other men who would show an expression of infatuation towards Su Shirhan. Of course, they didn't know that Feng Sanhuang was actually a spy. They were all deceived by Feng Sanhuang's calm appearance. Sister Wang, you're back. Shirhan saw that Wang Sis had returned and nodded to her. In fact, Shirhan had never thought that Qibing would change his mind. Shirhan had seen too many of these kinds of people. They were lustful and wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. However, there were many young masters who inexplicably disappeared after coming to find them. They were either under the control of their families or mysteriously vanished from the face of the earth. Although Shirhan didn't believe that it was a coincidence, there were no clues at all. Su Shirhan even wondered if it was God's blessing for her tragic life. Su Jianan came and said the same thing as before. He asked if he would agree to Zhao Qibing's request, and I rejected him right away. Wang Sis said to Su Shirhan, Xiao Han, this time, Wang Sis made a mistake. I asked you to treat him, but it caused some trouble. Sister Wang, don't say that. You did it for my own good. How can I blame you for this? Su Shirhan quickly waved her hand and said, Wang Sis, it's fine. I've been sick for so many years. I've endured it. It's fine. Yeah, our Xiaohan is strong enough. Sister Wang laughed. On one side, Shirhan was getting ready to go on stage. On the other side, tens of thousands of spectators had already flooded into Songshan's cultural stadium. With Pengzhan's position in Songshan, getting a few front-row VIP tickets was a piece of cake. The 5 of them sat in the front row of the stadium. Other than Lin Yi, the 4 girls were very excited, especially Tang Yin. She never thought that she would have the luxury of attending a concert, and it was a front-row VIP ticket. Although she didn't use her own money to buy the tickets, Tang Yin was still very happy. However, she didn't show it. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was screaming excitedly with Yushu, Su Shirhan, Shirhan, Su Shirhan. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other helplessly. They were fans, but they weren't crazy. They were quiet people, unlike Xiao Xiao and Yushu, who would cheer with the crowd. Only Lin Yi was dozing off on the VIP seats as if nothing had happened. Sleeping at Su Shirhan's concert, Lin Yi was probably the only one, although the concert hadn't started yet. Which fan wasn't waiting excitedly? How could he fall asleep? Lin Yi was actually training. Ever since he heard what Jiao Yazi said, Lin Yi knew that Xiao Xiao didn't have long to live, and so he started training day and night, closing his eyes and entering the jade space whenever he had the chance. Because Lin Yi knew that some things could only be resolved after possessing absolute strength. Therefore, what Lin Yi wanted to do the most right now was to level up. Chill, bro. Why did you fall asleep? Yushu looked at Lin Yi strangely. Shu, don't disturb him. He's training. Meng Yao knew Lin Yi. There was one time when Lin Yi was watching TV with his eyes closed. Meng Yao had asked Lin Yi about it. So, without a doubt, Lin Yi was still training. Meng Yao could more or less guess what Lin Yi was thinking, too. He wanted to get as strong as he could so he could heal Xiao Xiao. Oh, Yushu nodded and didn't disturb Lin Yi anymore. They were watching a concert now, so it didn't matter to her whether or not Lin Yi watched it. Lin Yi indeed wasn't that interested in Su Shirhan. He had enough beauties in his house, and Lin Yi couldn't possibly be interested in a so-called celebrity. Wasn't it just a little girl who could sing and dance? The Miss Shu, Yun Yun, and Xiao Xiao all knew these things. Lin Yi didn't need to look at others. After a while of waiting, the stadium's lights dimmed, and the music stopped abruptly. Su Shirhan was going on stage. At this moment, the audience in the arena cheered excitedly at this moment. Su Shirhan, Su Shirhan, Su Shirhan. Everyone was screaming, waving their light sticks, spoons, and laser sticks in the air. Yushu and Xiao Xiao stood up like the other fans, moving their bodies to the rhythm of the song. Lin Yi frowned and covered his ears with his hands. The noise was too annoying. The stage suddenly lit up, and all sorts of colored lights shot towards the stage. A huge beam of light shot towards the stage as well, and the mechanism on the stage activated, and a stage slowly rose up from below. This was pretty much the procedure for all the celebrities. The stage of the stadium was circular, and the celebrities could only come out from below the stage. They couldn't go through the audience. Wah! The fans cheered again when they saw Su Shirhan in her pink youth outfit. Hello, my fans. I am Su Shirhan. Su Shirhan politely and humbly greeted everyone. Thank you all for coming to Songshan Culture Stadium to attend my live concert. For this, I express my deepest gratitude. Lin Yi opened his eyes and looked at the girl on the stage. Her body and face were flawless, but who knew if those words were true or not? Was she thanking the fans for coming here and giving her money? In short, Lin Yi wasn't very interested in her. After a few glances, he closed his eyes again. As for Lin Yi's actions, The Miss, Shu, Yun Yun, and Xiao Xiao all felt helpless and thankful at the same time. Lin, he was such a waste of ticket, but he wasn't a pervert. How could he close his eyes and continue training after seeing such a beautiful girl? It seemed like Su Shihan's position in Lin Yi's heart was far lower than Xiao Xiao's. In fact, it was true. Lin Yi didn't care about Su Shihan's life or death. If Su Shihan and Xiao Xiao were to be naked in front of Lin Yi would look at Xiao Xiao first. But Lin Yi had to admit that Su Shihan's voice was very sweet, and her voice was like the sound of nature. And with Lin Yi's sharp eyes, he could tell that Su Shihan was singing for real, not lip-syncing. Chapter 1288. The only thing Lin Yi wanted to thank Su Shihan for was that she brought laughter to Xiao Xiao. Looking at the excited Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi felt that it was a good decision for Su Shihan to hold a concert in Songshan at this time. If there was a chance in the future, he would thank Su Shihan in person. Soon, the concert reached its climax. Under Su Shihan's lead, the entire audience went wild. Everyone stood up and sang and danced along with Su Shihan's voice. Even Immerse and Tang Yun were affected by the atmosphere. They stood up and danced along with the music. One had to say, if Lin Yi didn't have super strong willpower, he would have been affected by everyone. Of course, Lin Yi's willpower wasn't something a normal person could achieve. So, Lin Yi sat in his seat and didn't move. Lin Yi only opened his eyes to look at Su Shihan before closing his eyes again and moving his body. At the front of the VIP seats, a middle-aged man sat. These VIP seats were usually not sold to the public. They were used internally. These good seats were given to people with connections and people close to Su Shihan. But there weren't many middle-aged people who came to watch Su Shihan's performance. Other than the parents who brought their children, this middle-aged man was the only one. The middle-aged man's clothes were simple and low profile, but people who knew what he was wearing would be shocked. His clothes were ordinary, but the material was top-notch. Beside him, there was a man in his 30s. The man's eyes were bright, and he was dressed in black like a bodyguard. Evidently, he was the middle-aged man's bodyguard. Feng Er, don't you think that I'm a useless man? I can't even protect my own woman and daughter? A tear flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes. It had been so many years, and he had been holding it in. Only in front of a few close subordinates would he show a hint of sadness and exhaustion. To become a powerful person, one had to learn how to be ruthless. Too much emotional restraint would give the competitors a lot of opportunities to attack. Even if there was love in his heart, he had to show it. Master, Feng Er doesn't know. Feng Er only knows that Master is a powerful person, a person who does great things. Those who do great things don't bother with trifles. The bodyguard called Feng Er replied respectfully. Ew, what else can you say besides these words? You're not as smart as your third brother. The middle-aged man shook his head helplessly. But you're loyal. You've been with me for so many years, but can you talk to me once in a while? Don't treat me as your master. Master will always be master. I don't know what else I can be, Feng Er said blankly. Forget it. The middle-aged man waved his hand. Let's watch the concert. All right. Miss is so beautiful. Feng Er nodded and said. The middle-aged man shook his head. His phone vibrated. He took out his phone from his pocket and looked at the caller ID. It was Old Man Lin. He was slightly taken aback. After all, the old man rarely took the initiative to call him. Most of the time, it was him who called him. And for the old man to call him, it must be something important. With that thought, he quickly picked up the phone. Hello, old man. What's up? He said. What did you say? It's so noisy over there. Can't you hear me? Old man Lin yelled into the phone. Where are you? What did you say? He couldn't hear what Old Man Lin was saying. The concert was too loud, and the two of them couldn't hear each other clearly. Wait for me. I'll find a quiet place to call you. He yelled into the phone, but his voice was quickly drowned out by the music. He wanted to say something to Xiao Xiao, but she was waving her glow stick excitedly. He didn't want to disturb her. He turned to Tang Yun who had also stood up and was singing along with the miss, but she wasn't as engrossed as Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi pulled Tang Yun's hand, and she quickly lowered her head. What's wrong? I have something to do, so I'm going to make a call. I'll let you know. Lin Yi waved the phone in his hand. All right. Tang Yun nodded. Lin Yi stood up and left the VIP area, quickly leaving the stadium and heading to the washroom in the corridor. But when he got to the washroom on the first floor, Lin Yi heard voices coming from inside. It was a man's voice, and it sounded very familiar. Master Bing, I didn't see Su Shirhan, but her manager rejected my suggestion. Yes, she said she wanted to spend money to treat her, but I told her that it's not negotiable. Don't worry, Master Bing. I'm at the concert. If she acts up, I'll go persuade her. If she doesn't go to Yao Wang, no one else can treat her. She'll definitely fall into Master Bing's arms. It was Su Jianong's voice. Lin Yi stood at the entrance of the washroom and listened for a while. He recognized the voice of an old acquaintance, and it seemed like he was talking to Zhao Qibing. As for the content of their conversation, Lin Yi could roughly understand it. The superstar Su Shirhan probably had some illness and went to Yao Wang to treat her, and Zhao Qibing probably asked Su Shirhan for some unspoken rules, which she rejected. Su Shirhan wanted to spend money to treat her, but Zhao Qibing didn't agree, so the two were in a stalemate. Of course, this had nothing to do with Lin Yi. It didn't matter if Zhao Qibing was picking flowers or messing with grass. As long as he didn't provoke Lin Yi wouldn't care about him. Since he wanted to play with the superstar, then he couldn't interfere. This kind of thing, one was willing to fight, and the other was willing to suffer. That Su Shirhan wanted to treat her, so it was natural for her to be played by Zhao Qibing. After listening for a while, Lin Yi didn't want to listen anymore, but this washroom, Lin Yi didn't plan to go in. Although Lin Yi could forcefully kick Su Jianong out, this washroom was obviously the closest one to the stadium. Now that Su Jianong was inside, it was hard to say if other people would come in. Lin Yi felt that the conversation between him and old Lin should be confidential. So Lin Yi didn't want others to hear it, and he couldn't let others hear it. Lin Yi decided to find another washroom that was further away. Chapter 1289. Ouch! Shirhan covered her temples with both hands, her whole body lying on the basin, breathing heavily. She thought that she would be able to get through the concert, but she didn't expect that her headache would act up again in the middle of the concert. The more Su Shirhan tried to calm the headache, the more it hurt, and the more anxious she was, the more painful it became. Su Shirhan, Lin Yi finally recognized the girl who was washing her face with cold water and screaming in pain. It was the famous celebrity, Su Shirhan. But shouldn't Su Shirhan be on the stage? Why was she here? Moreover, it seemed like something had gone wrong. That's right. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he heard Su Jianong and Zhao Qibing talking on the phone. They mentioned something about Su Shirhan's illness. Could it be this kind of headache? With that thought, Lin Yi felt that it was very possible. Su Shirhan heard someone call her name and was shocked. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi in fear. She rushed into the bathroom to wash her face with cold water, and she didn't think that there would be someone in the bathroom. This was the bathroom in the basement. Other than the staff, there shouldn't be anyone else. The staff should be busy cleaning up the mess. Why would there be someone in the bathroom? And, looking at Lin Yi's face, Su Shirhan obviously hadn't seen him before. Although it was impossible for Su Shirhan to know all the staff in the company, most of them looked familiar, and the staff all wore the same badge. No matter how this person dressed, he didn't look like a staff. Who are you? Su Shirhan looked at Lin Yi cautiously and asked, You have a headache? Lin Yi frowned. He didn't want to poke his nose into other people's business. But Lin Yi wasn't thinking about Su Shirhan's headache, but the consequences of her headache. Since Su Shirhan appeared here, the concert must be interrupted, and if Su Shirhan didn't recover, the concert would be forced to end early. This wasn't the result Lin Yi wanted to see. Lin Yi didn't like Su Shirhan, and he didn't really look forward to her singing, but Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it. Xiao Xiao had been looking forward to this concert for a long time. How could Lin Yi let her down? Xiao Xiao was different from normal people, and every day she lived was a day less. Other people might regret not being able to see the concert today, but Xiao Xiao would regret it forever. She might not be able to see Su Shirhan's concert in this lifetime. In order to let Xiao Xiao have a perfect day, Lin Yi wouldn't allow the concert to end early. So, he had no choice but to help Su Shirhan. What are you doing? Su Shirhan was very cautious towards a stranger in the washroom. She took 2 steps back subconsciously, but the splitting headache made her steps weak. She only took 2 steps back before she fainted on the floor. The only thought in her mind before she fainted was to call for help, but running from the stage to the washroom had used up all the energy in her body. She didn't have any extra energy left. Lin Yi didn't think that Su Shirhan would faint before he could say anything. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but Lin Yi still had to save her. He walked to Shirhan's side and didn't care too much. He directly grabbed her wrist and started checking her pulse. HM? Lin Yi felt Su Shirhan's pulse and frowned. He flipped her eyelids and looked at her tongue, but he didn't find any abnormalities. This surprised Lin Yi a little. This Su Shirhan, where did her headache come from? Of course, Lin Yi could feel Su Shirhan's pain, but he couldn't find a cause yet. It was really strange. But Lin Yi took out the silver needles from his pocket and sterilized them with pure qi. He started to perform acupuncture on Su Shirhan. He inserted needles into Su Shirhan's chest, head, wrist, and other parts of her body. Then he started massaging her head and chest with his energy-infused hands. Su Shirhan moaned. Finally, she woke up under Lin Yi's acupuncture and massage. But when she woke up, she saw a man pushing her to the ground. One of the man's hands was placed on her chest. Pervert. Su Shirhan woke up immediately. She struggled to push Lin Yi away and get up from the ground. Don't move. Wait for me to remove the needles. Lin Yi frowned and used his hand to seal Su Shirhan's acupuncture points. He didn't let her move or scream. Then, he started to remove the needles from Su Shirhan's body one by one. Su Shirhan's eyes widened in shock. She didn't know what Lin Yi did to her, but it seemed like he just touched her a few times, and she couldn't move or scream anymore. It was as if she had been injected with an anesthetic, and only her eyes and thoughts were still under her control. The rest of her body didn't seem to belong to her anymore. What was this man trying to do? The next moment, Su Shirhan saw Lin Yi pull out a bunch of needles from her body and put them in a small box. After doing all this, Lin Yi casually poked her body a few more times, returning her to normal. A dash, Shirhan subconsciously screamed as soon as she regained her composure. Lin Yi had no choice but to cover her mouth with a frown. Stupid girl, don't call me that. If it wasn't because my girlfriend wanted to watch the concert, I wouldn't even bother to save you. Don't think that you're some celebrity. You're not even close to my girlfriend. I have no interest in you. Stop dreaming. Whoa, Su Shirhan was furious. She wanted to argue, but her mouth was covered by Lin Yi. She couldn't make a sound. Did you hear me? Nod your head if you heard me. Lin Yi said coldly. Su Shirhan quickly nodded. She wasn't stupid. At this time, she had regained her consciousness. The splitting headache disappeared as well. It seemed like her headache was really cured by the person in front of her. Chapter 1290. It hurts. Su Shirhan covered her temples with both hands as she laid on the basin, gasping for air. She thought that she could make it through the concert, but she didn't expect that her headache would act up again in the middle of the concert. The more Su Shirhan tried to calm her headache down, the more anxious she got, the more painful it became. Su Shirhan? Lin Yi finally recognized her. The girl who was washing her face with cold water and screaming in pain was the superstar Su Shirhan. But shouldn't Su Shirhan be on the stage now? Why was she here? Moreover, it seemed like something had gone wrong, right? Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he heard Su Jianong and Zhao Qibing talking on the phone. They mentioned something about Su Shirhan's illness. Could it be this kind of headache? With that thought, Lin Yi felt that it was very possible. Su Shirhan heard someone call her name and was shocked. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi in fear. She rushed into the bathroom to wash her face with cold water. She didn't think that there would be someone in the bathroom. This was the bathroom in the basement. Other than the staff, there shouldn't be anyone else. The staff should be busy dealing with the aftermath. Why would there be someone in the bathroom? And, looking at Lin Yi's face, Su Shirhan obviously hadn't seen it before. Although it was impossible for Su Shirhan to recognize every single worker in the company, most of them looked familiar. Plus, all the workers in the company wore the same badge. No matter how this person dressed, he didn't look like a worker. "Who are you?" Su Shirhan looked at Lin Yi cautiously. "You have a headache?" Lin Yi frowned. He didn't want to be nosy. Lin Yi wasn't a nosy person. However, Lin Yi wasn't thinking about Su Shirhan's headache, but the consequences of her headache. Since Su Shirhan was here, the concert must be interrupted. If Su Shirhan didn't recover, the concert would be forced to end early. This wasn't what Lin Yi wanted to see. Lin Yi didn't like Su Shirhan. Whether she would continue singing or not, Lin Yi didn't look forward to it. But Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it. Xiao Xiao had been looking forward to this concert for a long time. How could Lin Yi let her down? Xiao Xiao was different from others. Every day she lived was a day less. Others might regret it if they couldn't see the concert today, but Xiao Xiao would regret it forever. Perhaps she wouldn't be able to see Su Shirhan's concert for the rest of her life. In order to let Xiao Xiao have a perfect day, Lin Yi wouldn't allow the concert to end early, so he had to help Su Shirhan. What do you want? Su Shirhan was still very vigilant toward the stranger appearing in the bathroom. She subconsciously took 2 steps back, but the splitting headache made her steps weak. She only took 2 steps back before she fainted on the ground. Su Shirhan's only thought before she fainted was to call for help. But running from the stage to the washroom had used up all the energy in her body. She didn't have any extra energy left. Lin Yi didn't expect Su Shirhan to faint before he could say anything. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But Lin Yi still had to save her. He walked to Shirhan's side and didn't care too much. He directly grabbed her wrist and started checking her pulse. Lin Yi felt Su Shirhan's pulse and frowned. He flipped Su Shirhan's eyelids and looked at her tongue, but he didn't find anything strange. This surprised Lin Yi. This Su Shirhan, where did her headache come from? Of course, Lin Yi could feel Su Shirhan's pain, but he couldn't find the cause yet. This was strange. But Lin Yi took out the silver needles from his pocket and sterilized them with pure qi. He started acupuncture on Su Shirhan. He inserted needles into Su Shirhan's chest, head, wrist, and other parts of her body. Then he started massaging her head and chest with his energy-infused hands. Su Shirhan moaned and finally woke up under Lin Yi's acupuncture and massage. But when she woke up, she saw a man pushing her to the ground. The man's hand was on her chest. Pervert. Su Shirhan woke up immediately. She struggled to push Lin Yi away and got up from the ground. "Don't move. Wait for me to remove the needles." Lin Yi frowned and used his hand to seal Su Shirhan's acupuncture points. He didn't allow her to move or scream. Then, he started to remove the needles from Su Shirhan's body. Su Shirhan's eyes widened. She was shocked. She didn't know what Lin Yi did to her, but it seemed like he just touched her a few times, and she couldn't move or scream anymore. It was as if she had been injected with an anesthetic, and only her eyes and thoughts were still under her control. The rest of her body didn't seem to belong to her anymore. This person, what was he trying to do? The next moment, Su Shirhan saw Lin Yi remove the needles from her body and put them in a small box. After that, Lin Yi poked her body a few more times to make her go back to normal. Su Shirhan subconsciously screamed when she returned to normal. Lin Yi had no choice but to cover her mouth and frowned. "Stupid girl, don't scream. If it wasn't for my girlfriend wanting to watch the concert, I wouldn't even bother to save you. Don't think that you're some superstar. You can't even compare to my girlfriend. I have no interest in you. Stop dreaming." Whoa, Su Shirhan was furious. She wanted to argue after hearing Lin Yi's words, but her mouth was covered by Lin Yi. She couldn't make a sound. "Did you hear me?" "Not if you hear me clearly," Lin Yi said coldly. Su Shirhan quickly nodded. She wasn't stupid. She had regained her consciousness, and the splitting headache was gone. It seemed like her headache was really cured by the person in front of her. Chapter 1291. Su Shirhan wasn't stupid. In fact, she was a smart girl. She had been in the entertainment industry for so many years, and she needed to maintain a clear head and a calm heart. So after a short moment of anger, she calmed down. This man in front of her was obviously not a normal person. She had fainted from the pain before, and this had happened before, but every time she fainted, the next time she woke up would be the next day. It wasn't that easy to wake up, but this man in front of her just used a few needles and a massage to wake her up, and her head didn't hurt at all. This was even more effective than Zhao Yaowang's miracle medicine. And what shocked her the most was that this man in front of her knew how to use acupuncture. She wasn't sure if it was called acupuncture, but it was called that in wuxia dramas. Lin, he just used a few acupuncture points on her body, and she couldn't move or speak. She could only assume that Lin, he knew how to use acupuncture. She was shocked that he knew how to use acupuncture and massage, but she only thought of him as a medical master. But if he knew how to use acupuncture, then he wasn't just a medical master anymore. Could it be that Lin, he was a Wuling as well? But there were very few people in the Wuling who knew how to use acupuncture, right? Su Shirhan wasn't a practitioner, but her bodyguard, Feng San Huang, was. She didn't know what level he was at, but from what he said, she had a certain understanding of Wuling practitioners. There were people who knew how to fight, but to be able to use acupuncture, this was unheard of. Looking at the eyes of the man in front of her, there wasn't a trace of evil in them. She knew that what he said was probably true. The eyes were the window to the soul, and especially for an actress like Su Shirhan, she knew what eyes meant. The man in front of her really had no interest in her, and he wasn't just saying it. He was different from Zhao Qibing, who looked at her with lust and affection, but Lin didn't. He didn't even look at her with admiration and excitement, as if he was looking at a normal person. Maybe this man was telling the truth. His girlfriend was prettier than her, and he saved her so that his girlfriend could continue to watch the concert. And so, Su Shirhan nodded. But even so, she was filled with hatred towards Lin Yi. She was supposed to be grateful to Lin Yi, but she couldn't feel anything at all. Women are strange creatures. This sentence is not wrong at all. Lin Yi wasn't like Zhao Qibing, and that made her feel relieved. But Lin Yi wasn't interested in her at all, and even said that she wasn't as pretty as his girlfriend, which made her very unhappy. No matter what, she was a superstar who was the center of attention and was pampered by thousands of people. Did he not take her seriously at all? Was he blind? Plus, his reason for saving her was laughable, and it made her feel even less grateful. But in her heart, she didn't know why, but she was a little envious of Lin Yi's girlfriend. She was lucky to have a boyfriend like this. Lin Yi saw her nod and let go of the hand covering her mouth, saying faintly, "Are you done? If you're done, go back to the concert. No need to thank me. If you want to thank me, take a picture with my girlfriend after the concert. That's your reward." Hearing Lin Yi's words, Su Shirhan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She didn't even say that she wanted to repay him. Okay? With this attitude, he wanted her to repay him? Su Shirhan was very angry. But being angry was one thing, and Su Shirhan wasn't an ungrateful person. No matter what, Lin Yi helped her solve a big problem. Lin Yi's original intention wasn't important. What was important was that Su Shirhan benefited from it. And so, without even thinking about it, she nodded and agreed. On one hand, it wasn't just to repay Lin Yi's kindness, but also to ask Lin Yi if he could cure her illness when they had enough time. From her point of view, Lin Yi had a way. Lin Yi's medical skills were probably higher than Zhao Yaowang's, and most importantly, Lin Yi didn't have that kind of thoughts towards her, so Su Shirhan didn't worry about dealing with him and let him treat her illness. "Sure, this is my phone number. Call me after the concert, and I'll send someone to pick you up." Su Shirhan nodded quickly and said a string of numbers, then ran out of the washroom. Time was tight, and she had to touch up her makeup and go on stage again. So Su Shirhan didn't have time to chat with Lin Yi. There was a problem with the stage, and the fans were very anxious. But there was someone who was very pleased, and that person was Su Jiaonong. The first thing he did was to call Zhao Qibing again. "Master Bing, good news. Su Jianong said excitedly. What good news? Su Shihan agreed. Zhao Qibing paused and asked. Su Shihan's illness acted up on stage, and she said that there was a problem with the stage, but I think it's most likely her headache. Su Jianong said, I'm going to take Yao Wang's medicine to Wang Laoshi and ask her if she agreed to your request. Huh, good. I like taking advantage of people's difficulties. Zhao Qibing was very happy. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. Then you go now, and report to me as soon as you have good news. When Lin Yi went upstairs, he passed by the washroom on the first floor and heard the conversation between Su Jianong and Zhao Qibing. A playful smile appeared on his face. It seemed that Zhao Qibing's plan was going to fail. Although Lin Yi didn't have any special thoughts on whether or not Zhao Qibing was drooling over Su Shihan, but he unintentionally ruined one of Zhao Qibing's plans. Lin Yi was very satisfied. After leaving the corridor and returning to the VIP seats, Lin Yi smiled as he looked at the slowly rising stage. Su Shihan was probably going to go on stage again. Lin Yi, honey, you're back. There was a problem with the stage just now, and you left at the right time. You didn't miss any good performances, and you just came back and started again. You're so lucky, Xiao Xiao said when she saw that Lin Yi was back. Yeah, what a coincidence. If I didn't know that Shield Bro and Su Shihan didn't know each other, I would have thought that Shield Bro and Su Shihan had a date backstage. Yushu said. Chapter 1292. Haha, I'm not one of her fans and I don't really understand, so I'm not interested. You guys watch. Lin Yi smiled, not replying to Yushu's words. The stage rose and the concert restarted. Xiao Xiao and Yushu's attention returned to the concert, and they stood up, waving the light sticks in their hands with the other fans, celebrating the start of the concert. Lin Yi looked at Su Shihan on the stage. She seemed to be in good spirits, much better than before. Lin Yi smiled faintly. It seemed that Su Shihan was back to normal. Looking at the happy Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi felt that he made the right choice in saving Su Shihan. Of course, Su Shihan's reappearance made some happy, while others worried. Su Jianong didn't know that Su Shihan had reappeared. After ending the call with Zhao Qibing, he rushed to the basement and dialed Wang Wenshi's number. Hello. Wang Sis had just finished dealing with Su Shihan's matters, and she let out a sigh of relief when Su Shihan finally returned to the stage. Although she was wondering why Su Shihan was fine all of a sudden, time was of the essence, and Su Shihan didn't have time to explain. If she wanted to know the truth, she could only ask Su Shihan after the concert. Wang Sis was very familiar with Su Shihan's condition. Every time Su Shihan's illness acted up, it would hurt for a while. There was no way she could recover so quickly, and this time, it was obviously much worse than before. It seemed that Su Shihan had endured for a long time. Just as she was about to return to the resting room to watch Su Shihan's live recording, Wang Sis's phone rang. Seeing Su Jianong's name, she frowned. What was wrong with this Su Jianong? Wang Wenshi, I'm Su Jianong. Su Jianong's tone was proud and condescending. Mr. Su, what's the matter? Wang Sis asked faintly. It's like this. I heard that Miss Su's headache is acting up again. I happen to have Zhao Yaowang's medicine on me. I wonder if Wang Wenshi and Miss Su can agree to Master Bing's request? Su Jianong went straight to the point. Some things didn't need to be hidden, especially in front of an understanding person like Wang Sis. Who told you that? Xiaohan is fine. It's just that the stage malfunctioned. It seems that President Su's information is wrong. Sister Wang was a shrewd person. Although she knew that what happened before couldn't escape Su Jianong's eyes, she wouldn't admit it personally. So, she just asked without saying anything. Just now, when Su Jianong opened his mouth, Wang Sis even thought that Su Shihan had gotten the headache medicine from Su Jianong and had taken it to calm her headache. Moreover, Su Shihan had paid a price in exchange for the concert to go on, as usual. Wang Jie couldn't be blamed for thinking like that. After all, only Su Jianong, the spokesperson for Zhao Qibing and Zhao Yaowang, will be able to relieve Xiaohan's headache so quickly. Other than that, Sister Wang really couldn't think of anyone else with such great ability. But with Sister Wang's understanding of Su Shirhan, she knew that Su Shirhan was a strong person. She would rather die from the pain than agree to Zhao Qibing's unreasonable request. This was a girl who would rather die than submit. Unless she really liked someone, she wouldn't do anything over the line. And Su Jianong's words proved Sister Wang's guess. It seemed that Su Jianong didn't know that Su Shirhan had returned to the stage and was performing as if nothing had happened. That was why he said such shameless words, wanting to make a deal with Sister Wang. Wang Jianong, let's not beat around the bush. What happened to Su Shirhan? Was it because of the stage malfunction or because of her own problem? We all know this. I just want to ask you, do you want the concert to continue? If you want the concert to continue, then you better agree to Master Bing's request. I have medicine with me that can help Miss Su Shirhan's headache immediately. Su Jianong said, President Su, I'm sorry. I already said that your information is wrong. Why don't you believe me? The stage has been fixed, and Su Shirhan is performing again. If you don't believe me, you can go and see for yourself. Sister Wang smiled. President Su, I think you can see this clearly. There's no need for me to lie to you, right? Su Jianong froze after hearing Sister Wang's words. But he did hear the sound of singing in the stadium again. At first, he thought that it was some song for the audience. But after listening carefully, it seemed like Su Shirhan was speaking. Could it be that he made a mistake? Su Shirhan didn't leave the stage because of a headache, but because of the stage malfunction. After hanging up the phone, Su Jianong went back upstairs to the concert venue, only to see Su Shirhan standing on the stage in perfect condition, singing and dancing. She didn't look like she was having a headache at all. This made Su Jianong extremely depressed. It was just like what Sister Wang said. Nothing happened to Su Shirhan. He made a mistake. Su Jianong sighed. He had boasted of Master Bing before, but now the problem was, how was he going to explain it to Master Bing? After one climax after another, the concert finally came to an end amidst the passionate cheers of the audience. Although the fans weren't done yet, it was time to leave. After Su Shirhan finished the last song, she bowed to everyone and said, Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend my concert. Thank you. Although there was a small incident in the middle of the concert, the end result was very smooth. Su Shirhan, Su Shirhan, Su Shirhan. We can't bear to see you go. Su Shirhan, we love you. The cheers from the audience came one after another. Su Shirhan's eyes were a little wet. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. But after 4 hours, everyone is tired. I'm tired too. I hope there'll be a chance for us to meet again next time. The next concert date hasn't been set yet. Everything will have to wait for the official news from the company's website. The stage slowly descended. Su Shirhan waved to everyone and said goodbye reluctantly. Lin Yi looked at Su Shirhan. He didn't know if she was really reluctant or just putting on a show. Chapter 1293. Linny, honey, why aren't you driving? Xiao Xiao asked curiously. She saw that Lin Yi didn't seem like he was going to drive after everyone else had left. I'll bring you to take a picture with Su Shirhan later, Lin Yi said faintly. Take a picture with Su Shirhan? Xiao Xiao blinked, shocked. Are you serious? Lin Yi, honey, you're bringing me to take a picture with Su Shirhan? No way. I'm going to take a picture with her? Yes, I'll call her after the audience leaves, Lin Yi said. Shield bro, can we go too? Yushu asked quickly. I'll ask, Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi, how do you know Su Shirhan? Or rather, how did you get Xiao Xiao to take a picture with her? Meng Yao asked curiously as she looked at Lin Yi. Coincidence. I bumped into her when I went to the washroom. Lin Yi shrugged with a smile. Wow, Shield bro, you're so strong. You bumped into Su Shirhan when you went to the washroom. Prophet Shu, you're so strong. I told you that Shield bro and Su Shirhan were going on a secret date. Yushu exclaimed. It's not a date. It's just a coincidence, Lin Yi said. Most of the people had left, and most of the cars were gone. Lin Yi took out his phone and dialed Su Shirhan's number. Hello. The call connected quickly, but it wasn't Su Shirhan who picked up. It was another girl. Lin Yi frowned. Could it be that Su Shirhan tricked him and gave him a fake number? Or did he remember wrongly? That couldn't be right. Is this Miss Sue's number? Lin, he didn't say Sue Shirhan's name. Only Miss Sue. If he really dialed the wrong number and called Sue Shirhan directly, she might think he was crazy. May I ask who you are? Wang Sis paused. It was an unknown number, and the caller didn't call the wrong number, calling Sue Shirhan Miss Sue. This made Wang Sis a little suspicious. The person who treated her. You'll know once you talk to her, Lin Yi said lightly. Oh, please wait a moment. Wang Sis was taken aback. She quickly turned around and walked to Sue Shirhan's side. Han, someone's calling, saying that it's the person who's going to treat you. At this moment, Sue Shirhan had just removed her makeup and changed her clothes. Hearing Wang Sis's words, she immediately said, "Ah, he's looking for me. Wang Sis, give me the phone." Sue Shirhan was still wondering if Lin Yi would call her, but it had been so long since the concert ended, and she still hadn't received a call from Lin Yi. This made her feel lost and uneasy. What if Lin Yi didn't remember the number or didn't call? Because she was in a hurry and didn't have her phone, pen, and paper with her, she didn't ask for Lin Yi's number. Now that she wanted to contact Lin Yi, she couldn't. So when Wang Sis said that Lin Yi was calling, Sue Shirhan didn't dare to delay. She quickly asked for the phone. Wang Sis was slightly stunned. She didn't expect Sue Shirhan to be so proactive. Wang Sis wanted to ask Sue Shirhan how she got her headache after coming down from the stage. But she didn't have time because Sue Shirhan was removing her makeup and changing her clothes. Now, the person who treated her was calling. Could it be that Sue Shirhan's headache was cured by this mysterious person? I'm Sue Shirhan. Sue Shirhan said calmly after taking the phone. It's me. I'm bringing my girlfriend to you for a photo. Lin Yi asked. Okay, I'll get someone to pick you up. Just meet me at the stairs of the basement. Sue Shirhan said. Okay, I'll go now. There are a few friends who want to take a photo with you. Can we go together? Lin Yi asked. Can we do it next time? The company has rules. I can't bring too many non-staff backstage. Why don't you come first? And after you leave, I'll let your friends come in. Sue Shirhan said after thinking for a while. Then forget it. It's so troublesome. I won't make it difficult for you. We'll talk about it next time. Lin Yi could tell that Sue Shirhan wasn't rejecting him, but there were people in the company. She couldn't make the decision. This was a very normal thing. After all, not just anyone could enter the backstage. Although Sue Shirhan was a big star, she could bring in one or two people, but she couldn't bring in so many people at once. It was a bit difficult for her. So Lin, you didn't want to make it difficult for her. It's not that troublesome. How about this? You come in first. When I leave, we'll find a place where there's no one and take a photo with your friends outside. Sue Shirhan thought that Lin Yi had helped her so much before. If she didn't repay him, she would feel bad. Lin Yi's request was very simple. It was just a photo. If she couldn't do it, Sue Shirhan would feel very guilty. That works. Lin Yi nodded. Then I'll go now. After hanging up, Lin Yi turned to Meng Yao, Shu, and Tang Yin in the back. I'll go in with Xiao Xiao first. You guys wait for me in the car. We can't have too many people backstage. When Sue Shirhan comes out, you guys could take a photo with her. Okay. If it's too troublesome, it's fine. Tang Yin nodded. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't have any objections to this. After all, their goal was to make Xiao Xiao happy. Everything was for Xiao Xiao to be happy. They didn't care. Although the opportunity to take a photo with Sue Shirhan was rare, there was a saying that as long as one was alive, there was hope. They were still young, but Xiao Xiao was different. Let's go, Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi opened the door and pulled Xiao Xiao out of the car. Xiao Xiao was a little embarrassed at this. Everyone couldn't go, and only she had this privilege. This made her excited, but at the same time, a little embarrassed. Xiao Xiao knew why everyone was letting her go. She sighed and didn't say anything. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao went back to the gymnasium. At this time, all the fans had left, and the gymnasium was empty again. Other than the cleaning staff, there was no one else. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao went to the first floor stairs and saw a man waiting there. Seeing this man, Lin Yi's eyes froze. Not because he knew this man, but because this man was a mystic late phase peak. Chapter 1294. Lin he didn't expect to meet such a master in this gymnasium. If he wasn't mistaken, this person should be Su Shirhan's bodyguard. Otherwise, Su Shirhan wouldn't have asked him to wait here for her. Lin he was surprised that Su Shirhan had such a powerful bodyguard. How could a celebrity have such a powerful bodyguard? How much would it cost to hire such a master? Was it a coincidence, or was there an unknown power behind Su Shirhan? Is there anything I can help you with? When Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao walked down the stairs, Feng Sanwang walked up and asked faintly. He didn't ask if Lin Yi was looking for Su Shirhan, but asked what was the matter. This meant that even if Feng Sanwang was sure that Lin Yi was the person Su Shirhan wanted to meet, he still asked out of caution. I called Su Shirhan. She asked you to come pick us up, right? Lin Yi asked. The two of you, please follow me. Feng Sanwang nodded and didn't say much. He brought Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao to a resting room. Feng Sanwang knocked on the door and pushed it open. Miss Su, the person you want to meet is here. Please come in. With that, Feng Sanwang gestured for Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao to enter. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao entered the resting room together. Su Shirhan was resting on the sofa. When she saw Lin Yi, she quickly stood up and went to greet him personally. It didn't matter if she didn't like Lin Yi, but Lin Yi was her savior. If it weren't for him, the concert would have been ruined. So Su Shirhan was still very polite to Lin Yi. You're here. Thank you so much for what you did before. I was in a rush and didn't have time to thank you. It's okay. I already said that I'm just helping my girlfriend finish the concert. Lin Yi waved his hand, looking at Su Shirhan indifferently. Wow. You're really Su Shirhan. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was very excited to see the superstar she likes standing in front of her. It really is Su Shirhan. So you look even more beautiful and pure without makeup. You're pretty too. Your boyfriend says you're prettier than me. Su Shirhan smiled. But, as she spoke, she glared at Lin Yi, unsatisfied. She had to admit that Xiao Xiao was pretty, but she wasn't that bad herself. At most, it was a tie. They were about the same. Why was his girlfriend so much prettier than him? Of course not. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Xiao Xiao said, but she felt sweet inside. It seemed that Lin Yi's husband liked her a lot. Even Su Shirhan's charm wasn't as good as hers. Not really. He has good taste. I can see that he treats you very well. Su Shirhan shook her head, envious of Xiao Xiao. She was so lucky to have such a loyal boyfriend. A beauty like her was in front of Lin Yi, but he didn't care at all. It was as if she was a floating cloud. He didn't care about how pretty she was. He only had eyes for his girlfriend. Many men who saw her would want to take a picture with her or get intimate with her, but Lin Yi didn't seem to have that intention at all. Even if he wanted to take a picture with her, it would be with his girlfriend. He didn't even want to take a picture with her. You think he's nice too? Xiao Xiao was a little excited at Su Shirhan's words. She felt that there was something going on between Lin Yi and Su Shirhan. Otherwise, why would a superstar like Su Shirhan be so nice to Lin Yi? Could it be that Su Shirhan had her eyes on Lin Yi as well? With that thought, Xiao Xiao felt that it was possible, and hearing Su Shirhan's envious tone, she was even more sure of it. Su Shirhan was probably interested in Lin Yi's husband. If that was the case, then she'd help out. Su Shirhan paused. How about you be Lin Yi's husband's girlfriend too? Then we'll go home and have a threesome. Xiao Xiao had been hanging out with Yushu lately, and her words had become a lot more aggressive. She was starting to become more like Yushu, but it was because she didn't have much time left, and she didn't have to worry so much anymore. Su Shirhan's eyes widened, and her face reddened. What? A threesome? Did she hear wrongly? Lin Yi was waiting for Xiao Xiao as if nothing had happened, but when he heard Xiao Xiao's words, he almost fell to the ground. What did she say? A threesome with Su Shirhan? Lin Yi remembered the wish on Xiao Xiao's phone, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ahem. Xiao Xiao, didn't you want a picture? Hurry up and take a picture. Stop joking around. Lin Yi scolded. He was afraid that Xiao Xiao would say something else if she kept talking. All right, a picture. I almost forgot. Xiao Xiao slapped her forehead and exclaimed. She was a little aroused when she saw Su Shirhan, and then she started talking incoherently, forgetting why she was here in the first place. Now that she remembered, she quickly said, "Wait for me to dress up. I'll be right there. Let me use the dressing room." With that, Xiao Xiao ran into the dressing room in the lounge, preparing to fix her appearance. Seeing Xiao Xiao run over, Lin Yi didn't stop her. Using this chance, Lin Yi quickly walked in front of Su Shirhan. There were some things he had to explain to her. "Miss Su, don't take my girlfriend's words seriously. She likes to mess around." Lin Yi sighed and lowered his voice. "Actually, she has a terminal illness. She won't be able to hold on much longer. So, don't argue with her." Su Shirhan froze at Lin Yi's words. After hearing Xiao Xiao's words, her impression of Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi really did drop. She even wondered if Lin Yi was a hypocrite. He looked like a loyal person, but in reality, he was just like Zhao Qibing, the type of person who liked women. But now that she heard Lin Yi's explanation, she was shocked. She has a terminal illness? That's why I didn't want her concert to stop halfway. Lin Yi nodded. "She likes you, and one of her wishes is to see your concert and take a picture with you. I don't want her to leave this world with disappointment. That's why I saved you, so you don't have to feel anything for me. I saved you because I didn't want Xiao Xiao to be disappointed." Chapter 1295. Chapter 1293. A superstar's request. In fact, Shirhan understood that Lin Yi didn't like her. In Lin Yi's eyes, she was no different from a stranger, so it was normal that Lin Yi didn't save her. Why would she think that Lin Yi would save her? So she didn't mind what Lin Yi said. Powerful? Maybe, but there are always regrets in life. No matter how powerful someone is, there are always things they can't do. We aren't omnipotent. Lin Yi shook his head and said sadly, "She lacks a medicine, and it's hard to find nowadays." "Yeah, we aren't omnipotent." Shirhan sighed and nodded. "So that's how it is. She's so pitiful. That's why her way of thinking is a bit weird. Don't mind it. I've seen some of her wishes. One of them is that if she's a boy, she wants to push you down. If she's a girl, she wants to do that. That's indirectly pushing you down." Lin Yi explained for Xiao Xiao. He didn't want Shirhan to misunderstand her. As for Lin Yi himself, it didn't matter. Misunderstanding or not, it didn't matter. "Huh." Shirhan paused after hearing Lin Yi's words. "Is that so? Your girlfriend's way of thinking is really weird." Yeah, she knew that she wouldn't live past 20. It's normal that her way of thinking is different from others. Lin Yi said, "So Miss Su, I hope that you can spend more time with her. Consider it a request of mine." "Of course, no problem," Shirhan agreed. Shirhan agreed right away. Now that the misunderstanding was cleared up, she felt quite sympathetic towards Xiao Xiao. In the past, Shirhan thought that she was very unlucky, having a family tragedy since she was young, and now she had a headache that felt like it was going to explode at any moment. But compared to Xiao Xiao, all of that was nothing. Very quickly, Xiao Xiao came running out of the dressing room, and Lin Yi stopped talking and moved to the side. Shirhan had a professional photographer with her, and she told Wang Sis about it, and Wang Sis got the photographer over to take a photo of her and Xiao Xiao. Since Shirhan knew about Xiao Xiao's background, she was very patient and serious when taking photos, not showing any impatience at all. Wow, I never thought that one day I would be able to take so many pictures with Su Shirhan. "Lin Yi, honey, come take a picture with us?" Xiao Xiao waved at Lin Yi excitedly. "I'm not taking pictures. You guys take pictures. I don't like taking pictures." Lin Yi waved his hand. He wasn't interested in taking pictures with celebrities. "Come on, Lin Yi, honey. Treat it as keeping me company." Xiao Xiao said, a little reluctant. "All right, then I'll take one." Lin Yi smiled bitterly and walked over. Shirhan was seething with anger. "I'm a superstar. There are so many people who want to take pictures with me. And you don't like taking pictures? Do you think I want to take pictures with you? Oomph. If it weren't for you helping me once, and Xiao Xiao being so pitiful, do you think I'd be that free? Keeping you guys company for fun." But she could only say this in her heart, cursing Lin Yi 1,000 times in her heart. She couldn't say it out loud. Lin Yi stood beside Xiao Xiao, putting Xiao Xiao in the middle of the picture. Shirhan was even more annoyed. Didn't she always put herself in the middle when taking pictures with other people, and the other person stood on either side of her? But now, he had become a foil for her. And so, this picture, Shirhan didn't smile. She pursed her lips and finished the picture, feeling wronged, as if she was a punching bag. After taking the pictures, Shirhan's employees were almost done packing up. Everyone was getting ready to leave for the celebration party. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was satisfied. She didn't want to bother Shirhan anymore. Miss Su, thank you. Lin Yi nodded to Shirhan. No matter what, Xiao Xiao was happy today. Lin Yi's impression of Shirhan improved. You're welcome. I didn't do anything. Shirhan shook her head with a smile. Then Xiao Xiao and I won't bother you anymore. We'll leave first. I can see that you guys have other things to do. You're going to the celebration party, right? We'll leave first. As for taking pictures with my friend, we'll talk about it when we have the chance. Lin Yi didn't want to trouble Shirhan too much. After all, he took up so much of her time today. Lin Yi felt bad. Mr. Lin, please wait. Su Shirhan hesitated. I do need to go to the celebration party later, but can I invite you and Miss Feng to come too? Shirhan had two reasons for doing this. First, she wanted to ask Lin Yi if her headache could be cured. After all, this illness had been tormenting her for so many years. If there was a chance to get better, she wouldn't let it go. Secondly, Shirhan really did sympathize with Xiao Xiao, and bringing her to the celebration was to spend more time with her. Join the celebration party? Lin Yi frowned. He was suspicious of Shirhan's goal. Although he did help Shirhan, Shirhan accompanied Xiao Xiao to take pictures with her. That counted as returning the favor. No matter what, they didn't owe each other anything. Now that Shirhan invited him and Xiao Xiao to her celebration party, it was a bit too warm. Could it be that she had another goal? Lin Yi wasn't stupid. Shirhan's goal was to cure her illness. Her headache was only temporarily suppressed by his acupuncture and massage, but it would still come back. If Shirhan wanted to find him, other than this goal, Lin Yi couldn't think of any other reason. Mr. Lin, tell me the truth. Su Shirhan hesitated and didn't hide anything. First of all, I feel like Miss Xiao Xiao and I are very close. I don't have many friends, so I want to make Xiao Xiao my friend. Second, I have some questions about my body that I want to ask you, Mr. Lin. Lin Yi was surprised by Shirhan's honesty, but his impression of her improved a bit. Let's ask Xiao Xiao for her opinion. Lin Yi's words meant that he didn't reject Shirhan's suggestion. He wanted her to ask for Xiao Xiao's opinion. If Xiao Xiao agreed, then he'd be fine with it. Lin Yi's mind was on Xiao Xiao. As long as she was happy, it was fine. Chapter 1296. Chapter 1294. You're not sick, Xiao Xiao. What do you think? Shirhan turned to Xiao Xiao. She said this from the bottom of her heart. She didn't know why, but the moment she saw Xiao Xiao, she felt a sense of closeness. Really? Can I go? Xiao Xiao naturally wanted to go, but she raised her head to look at Lin. Then let's go. I'll call Meng Yao and the others and tell them to go back first. Lin Yi nodded. That's great. Xiao Xiao said happily. The Miss Shu and Tang Yin were easy to talk to. Lin Yi told them about the situation, and they said that there was no problem. They went back to wait for Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. It was obvious that the three of them had the same opinion about Xiao Xiao. Wang Sis knew that Shirhan's headache was solved by Lin Yi, so she didn't think that it was inappropriate for Shirhan to invite Lin Yi to the celebration party. Plus, it wasn't just people from the company at the celebration banquet. There were some famous people from the society as well, so bringing Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao wasn't a problem. Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, and Shirhan walked out of the gym side by side. San Wang, on the other hand, stood next to Shirhan. It didn't look like much, but Lin Yi could feel that he was on high alert. As a mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner, he was able to do this for a superstar. It surprised Lin Yi. Is Miss Su's bodyguard very responsible? Staying close to her, the salary must be quite high, right? Lin Yi smiled and asked casually. It's all right. It's a bit more expensive than normal bodyguards. 30,000 a month. Shirhan didn't hide it and said directly. 30,000? It is indeed more expensive than normal. Lin Yi nodded, but he was even more surprised and confused. A spiritual practitioner at the peak of mystic late phase cost 30,000 a month? If he were to become a bodyguard for a noble house, not to mention 30,000, even 300,000 would be too little. Back when Lin Yi was Mingyao's bodyguard as a golden class, he already earned this much after a month, and Lin Yi relied on old Lin's introduction. And so, Lin Yi was quite curious about this San Wang. But Lin Yi didn't ask. San Wang evidently didn't know that Lin Yi had seen through his strength, and his face was still expressionless. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao got in Shirhan's SUV together. Xiao Xiao and Shirhan sat together in the same row, while Lin Yi sat on the other side of the car. Mr. Lin, sorry for interrupting. Can we talk about my health? About my headache? Shirhan had already told him about how she met Lin Yi, as well as about her headache. Honey, can you take a look at her? Poor Su Shirhan. She gets headaches all the time. Xiao Xiao and Su Shirhan were very close, so she was naturally worried about her condition. Since Lin Yi came, he naturally expected this. He didn't reject and grabbed Shirhan's arm, feeling her pulse again. Shirhan blushed when Lin Yi grabbed her arm. She had never been so close to a man before. Although Lin Yi was treating her, she still felt a little embarrassed, especially when his girlfriend was right next to him. San Wang sat at the back of the car, and when he saw Lin Yi grab Shirhan's arm, his face changed slightly, but since Shirhan didn't say anything, he didn't stand up to stop him. Feng San Wang was sitting at the back of the car, and his face changed slightly when he saw Lin Yi grabbing Su Shirhan's arm, but Su Shirhan didn't say anything, so he didn't stand up to stop him. More than 10 years. I don't know when it started. I was too young. Shirhan frowned, as if she was recalling the past. Her face showed a painful expression. It's been more than 10 years. I don't know exactly when it started. I was too young. Shirhan frowned, as if she was recalling the past. Her face couldn't help but show a pained expression. But then, Shirhan's face became extremely pale, and cold sweat dripped down her forehead. What she didn't expect was that the headache started again. And at this time, coincidentally or not, it gave Lin Yi the chance to check. Headache. Shirhan held her head with both hands and said with difficulty, "It started again." Lin Yi frowned and quickly checked Shirhan's pulse, eyelids, tongue, and other parts of her body, but he didn't find anything abnormal. After thinking for a while, Lin Yi took out the needles and started treating Shirhan. This time, Shirhan was in a conscious state, so when Lin Yi's hand touched her chest, Shirhan's face showed a touch of shyness, but she also knew that Lin Yi wasn't taking advantage of her. He was really treating her. She knew Lin Yi very well, and she knew Lin Yi's character very well. To say that Lin Yi had any thoughts towards her, Shirhan absolutely didn't believe it. She could see from a photo that Lin Yi wasn't interested in her, and when he checked her pulse, Lin Yi was just doing his routine. He let go after touching her. He didn't even want to touch her for a while longer. How could such a person take advantage of her? Moreover, his girlfriend was watching from the side. How would he dare to do it? Wait. It seemed like her girlfriend was very supportive of him doing anything to her. Thinking up to here, Shirhan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This girlfriend, she was the best, right? However, when Lin Yi was doing this, Wang Sis was a bit nervous. Shirhan was a public figure after all. It didn't seem right to let a man touch her chest so intimately. But since it was a treatment, and Shirhan didn't object, Wang Sis could only watch nervously. And Feng San Wang was also very nervous, his eyes staring straight at Lin Yi, as if Lin Yi did anything wrong, he would rush up and kill Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't feel anything towards Wang Sis's gaze, but toward the master like Feng San Wang. Lin Yi maintained enough vigilance. Who knew where he came from? Lin Yi didn't dare to guarantee that he wouldn't suddenly attack when he was treating Shirhan. Much better. Shirhan looked at Lin Yi gratefully. Much better. My head doesn't hurt anymore. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything. He quickly put away all the silver needles on Shirhan's body. You're not sick. You're very healthy. Lin Yi confirmed this time and very seriously said to Shirhan. Shirhan suddenly froze. She looked at Lin Yi strangely. I'm not sick? Very healthy? What do you mean? Chapter 1297. A painful past, not sick? Su Shirhan froze. You mean my body is not sick? Then my headache. The headache exists, but there's nothing wrong with your body. Lin Yi explained. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your body to cause headaches. You can still have headaches even if there's nothing wrong with your body. There are many factors that can cause headaches. For example, you've encountered some troublesome things or you've encountered some sad things. All of these can cause headaches. Business going bankrupt, family and friends passing away. These can also cause headaches. Then Su Shirhan suddenly remembered that she went to see a famous doctor in Songzhan City before. After a detailed examination, the conclusion was that she was not sick. Other hospitals also couldn't find any problems. Could it be that what Lin Yi said was true? When that famous doctor gave this conclusion, Wang Sis even said that he was a liar. Su Shirhan didn't say anything at that time. After all, although that famous doctor gave the conclusion, he couldn't cure her. But now, Su Shirhan kind of believed in Lin Yi's words, because Lin Yi's medical skills were obviously better than that person, even better than Zhao Yaowang. So Su Shirhan still believed in Lin Yi's conclusion. She was just a bit shocked. After Wang Sis heard Lin Yi's words, she couldn't help but frown. She wanted to say something, but she also saw Lin Yi's medical skills, so she didn't say anything in the end. But I don't have any headaches or pressure right now. Su Shirhan hesitated and asked. I didn't say right now. I asked you before, when did your headache start? You told me that it was when you were very young. This means that it happened when you were very young. At that time, you encountered something that gave you headaches. Maybe it's life, maybe it's your family or friends. But this thing hasn't been solved yet, so your headaches have continued until now. Lin Yi said, this is a psychological hint, a knot in your heart. It's not a physical problem. Su Shirhan listened to Lin Yi's analysis and couldn't help but look at Lin Yi in shock. It wasn't that Lin Yi's words were shocking, but Lin Yi's words just happened to hit the nail on the head. Lin Yi was right. When she was young, she indeed encountered something that made her heartbroken. Every time she thought about it, Su Shirhan would have a splitting headache, so she could only try her best not to think about it. However, before, Su Shirhan didn't think that this matter had anything to do with her headaches. In her mind, her headaches were always there, and whenever she thought about these sad things, it would trigger the headaches. But she never thought that these sad things were the source of her headaches. At this time, Wang Jia also looked at Lin Yi in shock. Before, she still had some doubts about what Lin Yi said about Su Shirhan not having an illness, but now, she didn't doubt at all. Su Shirhan's painful past when she was young was no secret to Wang Jia, but Lin Yi was an outsider. It was impossible for him to know the secret. The only possibility for him to say this was that his diagnosis was correct. Maybe you're right. When I was young, I did encounter some sad things. This is a knot in my heart, and I haven't untied it yet. Su Shirhan sighed and said softly, Are you willing to listen to me? Let's hear it. Lin Yi nodded. There were no outsiders in the car. Today, Su Shirhan was riding in the company's large business car. The driver's cabin was separated from the back, so only Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, Wang Sis, and Feng Sanwang could hear her words. Wang Sis and Feng Sanwang obviously knew about these things. From their expressions, Lin Yi could tell this. He could tell that they were close to Su Shirhan. She didn't hide it from them. When I was young, I always lived with my mom. Dad only came to visit us once in a while. At that time, I asked my mom, why didn't Dad stay with us every day? My mom told me that Dad was very busy with his career, and he didn't have that much time. He only came to visit us occasionally when he was free. At that time, I didn't know much. I thought that what my mom said was true, but after I grew up, I gradually understood that I was an illegitimate daughter. I took my mom's surname, and even now, I don't know what Dad's surname is. When I was 4, one night, a vicious woman suddenly barged into our house. She called my mom a little bitch, called me a little bastard. At this point, Su Shirhan's face darkened. After thinking about it, that woman was probably Dad's legal wife. That woman and her subordinates wanted to kill me and my mother. In order to save me, my mother was severely injured by that woman. But in the end, she still managed to escape from that woman's clutches. After that, Mom fainted on the way, and I wanted to call for help, but I got lost and was sent to an orphanage. I was too young then. And when I grew up, I went to that place to look for Mom, but I couldn't find her. After that, I never saw my mom again. I don't know if she's already. At this point, Sue Shirhan's tears flowed out of her eyes, and she started sobbing. Although Sue Shirhan's story was intermittent, but Lin Yi already understood the tragic story that Sue Shirhan was telling. It seemed that Sue Shirhan's mother was a woman that the man kept outside, but was found out by his wife. She brought people to get rid of the problem, but the mother and daughter managed to escape. And Sue Shirhan, without her father and mother, this knot in her heart, it would be strange if it could be solved. Miss Sue, I'm sorry for your loss. Life is unpredictable, but Miss Sue's current achievements are also unattainable by ordinary people. I can't help you with this. It's not an illness. You have to rely on yourself. Lin Yi sighed. Thank you. No matter what, I still have to thank you. I found the source of my headache. Sue Shirhan said. Then what should I do now? Chapter 1298. Are you threatening me? Thank you, Mr. Lin. Shirhan was very grateful after hearing Lin Yi's words. Although that Zhao Yaoang's painkiller was very effective, compared to Zhao Qibing, Lin Yi wouldn't make those unreasonable requests. It's fine, you don't have to thank me. Since you and Xiao Xiao hit it off, we're friends now. Lin Yi recognized Shirhan as a friend because of Xiao Xiao. Okay, how much is the medicine you gave me? Although we're friends, I can't take advantage of you when it comes to medical fees, Shirhan nodded. Forget about the money, we're not friends. I might not do it even if you give me money. Lin Yi waved his hand. If you want it, I'll give it to you. That won't do. This is a different matter. My headache is a long-term problem, and I'll be asking you for medicine in the future. I can't just give it to you for free, can I? Shirhan said. That won't happen. You can only take the medicine I gave you for a short period of time, but Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company's painkiller pill is going to be released soon. You can buy it yourself then. It's my prescription. The effect is the same, Lin Yi said. Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company? Shirhan's eyes widened, and she turned around to look at Wang's sis. She blushed. Are you talking about Guan Xuemin's Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company? It just opened recently, and there's a new product on the market? You know about it? Yes, I told Fatty Lai to invite you as a guest, but you rejected him. Lin Yi remembered. Shirhan stuck her tongue out. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you were involved in that company. If I knew, I would have come. I hope you don't mind. It's fine, it's just a new product launch. Lin Yi didn't mind. I just wanted to be a celebrity. Can I be your spokesperson? Don't worry, it's free. Sue Shirhan felt that if she didn't do something, she would feel bad. That's fine too. It'll be great if you're free. Lin Yi didn't mind. It was good to have a celebrity effect. Wang Sis listened to Sue Shirhan's suggestion and didn't stop her. After all, Sue Shirhan received a huge favor from Lin Yi today. She thought that Sue Shirhan's headache was going to fail again, but she didn't think that Lin Yi would solve the problem. This way, not only did he not have to worry about Zhao Qibing's mood, but Lin Yi also looked more reliable than Zhao Yaoang, who was covered in lightning rods. Then it's settled. Shirhan nodded as if she had to be Lin Yi's spokesperson no matter what. Xiao Xiao listened to Sue Shirhan's story and felt that she was a pitiful person. She wasn't even as happy as her short-lived self. However, Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. She didn't want to affect Lin Yi's treatment, so she sat quietly on the side until everything was settled. She said excitedly, Sue Shirhan, I can see you often in the future. Huh? Yeah, Xiao Xiao, come play with me often. Shirhan smiled. Mr. Lin has my phone number. You can call me when the time comes. Call me Lin. Mr. Lin is a bit awkward, Lin Yi said. That's fine. Then don't call me Miss Sue. Call me Sue Shirhan or Han. Shirhan nodded. Right. Have you seen Zhao Qibing before? Lin Yi suddenly remembered the conversation between Su Jiaonong and Zhao Qibing outside the washroom on the first floor of the stadium. Yeah, I did. But Zhao Qibing's request was too difficult for me, so I didn't go to him for treatment, Shirhan said with an unnatural expression on her face. That's good. It's best if you don't see him. It's easy to die. Lin reminded. Ah, die. Shirhan blinked. It's nothing, as long as you don't see them again. Linny didn't explain much. The car drove slowly on the road and arrived at Songshan's Starlight Hotel. Su Shirhan's celebration banquet was held here. The entertainment company had invited some celebrities to attend the banquet. Linny, Xiao, wait for me at the party. I need to go on stage to do my makeup, Shirhan said apologetically to Lin, and Xiao after getting off the car. After all, this was the procedure of the party, and Shirhan couldn't change it. She could only ignore Lin, and Xiao for the time being. No problem. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. Lin shrugged nonchalantly. He brought Xiao here mainly to see Shirhan. Lin, he didn't really care. After getting off the car, Lin, and Xiao took the invitation card from Wang Sis and walked towards the hotel. Shirhan and Wang Sis, on the other hand, followed the staff to change into their dresses. Mr. Lin, please wait. Lin only took 2 steps before he was stopped. It was Shirhan's bodyguard, Feng San Wang. What's the matter? Lin stopped and turned around. Mr. Lin, I hope you won't divulge Miss Su's condition and what she told you today. Otherwise, I can't guarantee your safety. Feng San Wang walked over, lowered his voice, and said coldly. Feng San Wang wasn't afraid that it would affect Shirhan's image, but he was afraid that his master's enemies and the mistress of the house would hear about it. It would bring unnecessary trouble. Are you threatening me? Lin didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled and looked at Feng San Wang. Lin didn't think that Feng San Wang would be this loyal, chasing after him just to tell him these things. You can think of it that way. Even if you're mystic mid-phase peak, Feng San Wang said faintly. Lin heard Feng San Wang's words and was slightly surprised. He didn't think that Feng San Wang could tell his strength level already. But after thinking for a while, Lin understood why Feng San Wang knew his strength level. When Lin used his qi to disinfect the needles, he only used his qi for a split second. He didn't think that Feng San Wang would sense it. Don't think that just because you're a mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner, you can talk big in front of me like this. Lin looked at Feng San Wang and said, I'm a person who could be persuaded, but not cowed. I won't betray my friends, but you're not my friend. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Chapter 1299. Who was this person? It wasn't surprising that he could tell Lin Yi's strength level, because Lin Yi had shown his strength when he was sterilizing the needles. But Feng San Wang was sure that he hadn't used his qi at all from the beginning to the end. So how did Lin Yi discover his true strength? This made Feng San Wang very surprised. Feng San Wang didn't know if Lin Yi was telling the truth or not, but from the fact that Lin Yi could tell his strength and was so calm in front of him, it should be true. In other words, Lin Yi could fight against a mystic late-phase peak master. Feng San Wang felt that he was being a busybody for the first time, but Lin Yi's words made him feel relieved. He said that he wouldn't betray his friends. So Feng San Wang shook his head and quickly caught up with Su Shirhan's team. Lin Yi, honey, what's the meaning of this bodyguard? Is he threatening us? And he's a mystic late-phase peak? Xiao asked in surprise after Feng San Wang left. And indeed, this person is a bit mysterious. Lin Yi nodded. I don't know why a mystic late-phase peak like him would lower himself to be Su Shirhan's bodyguard. And he only gets 30,000 a month. It's too cheap. But I can see that he's doing this for Su Shirhan's sake. He's threatening us because of Su Shirhan, so as long as he's good to her, it's fine. It has nothing to do with us, Xiao said. Yeah, it has nothing to do with us. Lin Yi held Xiao's hand and entered the hotel. Because of the photo in the gymnasium, they were delayed a bit, so Su Shirhan, the staff, and Lin Yi were the last to arrive at the hotel. As for the invited celebrities, they had already arrived at the star-studded banquet hall. Lin Yi entered the banquet hall with Wang Sis' invitation and brought Xiao to a corner to sit down. Lin Yi was very low-key, because in the banquet hall, Lin Yi saw a few familiar faces. Siwa Zhao Qibing, Xiao Wangdao Xiao Wangba, and Wu Chintian, who was with them. In addition, There was another person who looked familiar to Lin Yi, as if he had seen him somewhere before. Who was this person? Isn't that Iron Fist Wu, that idiot? Xiao Xiao saw Chun Tian as well. And those two idiot brothers from the Xiao family. It's him. Let's not care about them. We'll wait for Su Shihan here. Lin Yi was not interested in these people. As long as they did not take the initiative to provoke Lin Yi, then Lin Yi was not interested in finding trouble with them. Qibing was very happy today. He knew that Shihan wouldn't welcome him to the celebration, but as one of the young masters of Songshan City, he still got an invitation from the entertainment company. The entertainment company didn't know about the feud between Su Shihan and Zhao Qibing. As long as it was a young master in Songshan, the entertainment company would send an invitation card. Although Su Shihan was a celebrity and had no scandals, sometimes she still needed the participation of these young masters to raise her value. How could a superstar with no one chasing after her be a superstar? Master bang your leg. Why isn't it healed yet? Xiao Wangba looked at Qibing's wheelchair curiously. Qibing's leg had been broken for so long, and with Yao Wang beside him, it should be healed soon. Why was he still in a wheelchair? Let's not talk about it anymore. Qibing's face darkened. Wasn't it because of Lin Yi? But now, he couldn't do anything to Lin Yi at all. Wangba saw that Qibing's face wasn't looking good, so he didn't bring up the topic anymore. He changed the topic. Although the Xiao family had the support of the hidden house pie and had changed a lot, House Zhao was a hidden house to begin with. Compared to them, the Xiao family was still a head lower. Naturally, he didn't dare to act rashly in front of Qibing. Master Bing, Su Shihan is a beauty. Do you have any ideas on how to get her back? Wangba asked. In fact, the Xiao family brothers came here with the intention of getting close to her. But since Qibing was here, they naturally had to ask for his opinion. It wouldn't look good if they fought with Qibing. As for Wu Qintian, there was no need to worry. He came here to accompany the Xiao family brothers. He had been hanging out with the Xiao family brothers for a while now, so they were very familiar with each other. But Chun Tian was very infatuated with Sun Jingyi, so he wasn't interested in playing with celebrities. You're right. I'm here for Su Shihan. Qibing laughed. This Su Shihan, she's even prettier in real life than on TV. That girl, after one look at her, my heart itches so much, I really want to carry her to bed right now. Qibing chuckled. Qibing smiled. Zhao Qibing didn't hold back at all, his voice loud and clear. In fact, he was saying it for the people around him to hear. Most of the people here knew Zhao Qibing, and they all knew that he had a powerful background. So with what he said, even if someone wanted to do something to Shihan, they'd have to think twice about Zhao Qibing. I see. Then I wish you success, Zhao bro, and get the beauty back. Wangba's face was a little unnatural. He had the same idea, but now he could only be a foil for Qibing. He couldn't help it. He was a disciple of a hidden house. After all, Chun Tian, on the other hand, didn't feel anything. He was chatting with the young man that Lin Yi was familiar with. It seemed like Chun Tian was trying to get into the young man's good books, and the young man was talking to Chun Tian calmly, as if he didn't like Chun Tian at all. Who was this person? Lin Yi frowned, trying to figure out the young man's identity. Lin Yi was 100% sure that he'd seen this person before, but he couldn't remember where he'd seen this person at the moment. But he was sure that this person wasn't very familiar with him, or else he wouldn't be unable to remember anything after thinking for so long. Just when Lin Yi was thinking about who this person was, there was a commotion in the crowd, and music started playing. It seemed like Su Shihan was going to appear. Chapter 1300. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. As these people entered the hall, the guests quieted down and focused their attention on Su Shihan. Su Shihan walked to the front of the stage, and under the warm applause of the guests, she walked up the stage with the middle-aged man. Wang Sis and Feng San Wang, on the other hand, stood below the stage. They were her manager and bodyguards, so they couldn't go on stage with Su Shihan. Thank you, everyone, for coming to our company's Miss Su Shihan's concert. The middle-aged man started speaking after he got on stage. As the CEO of the entertainment company, he was naturally the first to speak. Today's concert was a success. Here, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone who supported Miss Su Shirhan, as well as my sincere blessings to Miss Su Shirhan. Thank you. The middle-aged man's speech was short and formal. Although Su Shirhan was his subordinate, the middle-aged man didn't dare to neglect her at all, not to mention that Su Shirhan was his money tree. The background behind her was enough to intimidate the middle-aged man. He still remembered that 3 years ago, when he was drunk, he lost control of himself and wanted to get rid of Su Shirhan. At that time, Feng Sanhuang's fierce skills and cold eyes, as well as the golden-class bodyguard that he hired with a lot of money, was knocked unconscious by Feng Sanhuang with one punch. The middle-aged man's heart was about to explode, especially when Feng Sanhuang vaguely pointed out Su Shirhan's background. The middle-aged man was so scared that he knelt on the ground and begged for mercy, saying that he would treat Su Shirhan like his own daughter in the future and make her the pillar of the company. Although the people weren't very interested in the middle-aged man's speech, since they were all here to see Su Shirhan, but because he was the CEO of the entertainment company, they had to give him face. So after his speech, everyone still responded with a warm applause. After the applause, it was Su Shirhan's turn to speak. Today, I was very happy. Although there was a small accident in the middle of the concert, it was solved in the end. Su Shirhan smiled. Thank you to those who helped me. Thank you. Su Shirhan's words seemed to be directed at the guests and staff, but in fact, it was directed at Lin Yi. She believed that Lin Yi should be able to understand. However, Lin Yi understood, but he didn't express anything. He just smiled faintly and didn't even raise his head. Seeing that Lin Yi in the corner didn't have any reaction, Su Shirhan was a little angry. When she was talking, everyone looked at her with enthusiasm. Only Lin Yi, she didn't know what he was doing. Did he fall asleep? Su Shirhan wanted to rush down the stage and kick him, but considering that there were so many people here and Lin Yi was her benefactor, Su Shirhan could only accept it. If Lin Yi was just a passerby, Su Shirhan wouldn't be so angry, but now that they were friends, she was still being ignored. Su Shirhan didn't feel comfortable. Su Shirhan's speech was also very short. For this kind of occasion, Su Shirhan was just dealing with it. These guests who came to the celebration banquet, there weren't many real fans. Most of them came with impure intentions. They wanted to get close to her. Su Shirhan knew what they were thinking. All right, everyone, enjoy yourselves. The middle-aged man took over the microphone and made the final decision. At this time, the celebration banquet officially started. Su Shirhan didn't toast the guests on the stage. This was her rule. She didn't drink, so she skipped this step. However, after the banquet started, there were still a lot of people raising their glasses to toast. Su Shirhan couldn't refuse, so she could only use tea instead of wine to deal with the guests. Su Shirhan didn't like this kind of situation. Of course, she didn't like it, but it didn't mean that other people didn't like it. Some celebrities who weren't popular would still want to participate in this kind of banquet to improve their relationships. Miss Su, what a coincidence. We meet again. Zhao Qibing sat in his wheelchair and walked towards Su Shirhan with Su Jiaonong. Su Shirhan saw Zhao Qibing, and her face changed. She didn't think that Zhao Qibing would participate in this banquet. However, the company prepared the list, so Su Shirhan didn't know about it beforehand. Zhao Qibing's appearance made the young masters around Su Shirhan move away. Zhao Qibing's name was very famous in Songshan, and these young masters who represented their fathers to attend the banquet all knew Zhao Qibing. Their purpose was very simple. Other than having the illusion of Su Shirhan, they also wanted to use this banquet to make more friends and build connections for their family's business. Of course, Zhao Qibing had already expressed his strong possessiveness towards Su Shirhan. Naturally, the others wouldn't go against him. Young Master Zhao, hello. Su Shirhan smiled and nodded, greeting Zhao Qibing. Although she hated him in her heart, she didn't show it on her face. Miss Su, I wonder if I can treat you to a drink? Let's find a table and sit down. Let's have a chat. Qibing went straight to the point and invited Shirhan. I'm sorry, young Master Zhao, I don't drink, and there are a lot of guests right now. I'm afraid I can't talk to you alone. Maybe next time, okay? Su Shirhan politely rejected Zhao Qibing's suggestion. A lot of guests? We're their guests. Why don't I see them? Are you guys busy? Don't just stand here, do what you need to do. Zhao Qibing looked at the young masters around him and said with a threatening tone, "These people came here to make friends. Who would go against Zhao Qibing because of a woman? Even if this woman was a superstar and was as beautiful as a goddess, it wasn't worth offending them." So, after Zhao Qibing spoke, these people turned around and left. Without a doubt, Zhao Qibing had the highest status in this banquet. Even if Su Shirhan wasn't his cup of tea, she couldn't be anyone else's. "Zhao Qibing, why do I not like your style? Hitting on girls at your level, you're the best." The man who spoke was the young man that Lin Yi was familiar with. Zhao Qibing heard the mockery and froze. He turned around and saw the person who spoke. His face turned cold. "I was wondering who it was. Isn't this the second son of House Sun?" What? You're bored of staying in House Sun and can't be the heir, so you came out to relax. So what if I am? The second son is still better than the bastard." The man humphed coldly and said faintly. Chapter 1301. How Bao Chintian jumped when he saw that the man beside him was talking back to Zhao Qibing. Chintian knew that the man was loyal to his friends, but depended on the situation. The hidden house Zhao was obviously very strong, and it didn't matter if he was an illegitimate son or not. House Wu and House Sun, on the other hand, were just noble houses in the common world. There was a huge difference between them. A small house Sun dares to talk big in front of me. Don't think that I won't touch you just because you're from House Sunday. I may be an illegitimate son, but if I kill you, House Sun won't say a word. They won't stand up for a second son who isn't even an heir." Zhao Qibing laughed and said in a domineering manner. The man's face changed, turning very ugly. Zhao Qibing had hit the nail on the head. In House Sun, he didn't have the final say. With his big brother suppressing him from above, it made him, the second son, very sad, especially since the man spoke up for justice. He was often ordered around by his big brother. It wasn't that he didn't understand, it was just that he did it willingly. Because of this, his position in House Sun was very ordinary. He was ordered around by his big brother to expose some of the family's problems in the family meetings and was hated by the family, but the man didn't regret it. He was a man, and there were things he should do and things he shouldn't. This was his personality, and if he saw something unfair, he would do it. "Kill me? You?" The man looked at Zhao Qibing's legs, a mocking smile on his face. "Li Zihua, slap him." Zhao Qibing pointed at the man and said arrogantly. Lin Yi heard Zhao Qibing's words and suddenly understood. House Sun, was it the noble house Faubert mentioned? Wasn't that Sun Jingyi's family? This man was Sun Jingyi's brother? Sun. Lin Yi suddenly remembered where he had seen this man before. Sun Yikai, this man was Sun Yikai. He remembered that when Lin Yi just moved to the Chu family's villa, he met a young man who drove a Ferrari. At that time, he said his name was Sun Yikai and asked Lin Yi to turn to him when he was in trouble. He would protect Lin Yi. Back then, Lin Yi had a good impression of her. He felt that she was a straightforward person. Although Lin Yi was a little cold in the way he handled things, that was towards enemies, friends, and people who owed him favors. Lin Yi would probably treat them 100 times better. Putting aside the relationship between Sun Yikai and Lin Yi, just the relationship between him and Sun Jingyi was something that Lin Yi couldn't just watch as Sun Yikai was bullied by Zhao Qibing. "I'll go take a look." Lin Yi stood up and walked toward Zhao Qibing. "I'll go too." "Wait for me." Lin Yi honey, Xiao Xiao was also someone who liked to join in the fun. How could she not join in the fun? Sun Yikai's face was very ugly. He didn't think that Zhao Qibing would be this arrogant, ordering his men to beat him up in public. As a member of a noble house, Sun Yikai had never been humiliated like this before. In the past, everyone would give face to the Sun family, and the matter could be solved perfectly. But today it was different. After calming down, Sun Yikai suddenly realized that the person he was facing was the hidden Zhao family, not an ordinary family, But Sun Yikai wasn't someone who was afraid of trouble. Facing Zhao Qibing's threat, he still stood up straight. Qibing was certain that he could defeat Sun Yikai. House Sun may have a special position among the noble houses, but they were a healing house. Their arts were all healing, not martial arts. So Sun Yikai was no different from a normal person. Sihua would be able to defeat him easily. Master Bing, please do me a favor. Bro Sun is young and impulsive. Don't mind him. Chen Tian was in a difficult position, but he had to stand up for Sun Yikai no matter how hard he tried. Sun Yikai was Sun Jingyi's brother. Chen Tian couldn't just stand by and watch when something happened. All right, apologize to me now and get lost. I'll let this go. Qibing was more or less afraid of Chen Tian. This idiot. Chen Tian's kung fu was amazing, and Qibing's men were no match for him. So when Chen Tian asked, Qibing went with the flow and gave him face. Wu bro, don't worry about this. I just don't like his way of doing things. Sun Yikai didn't think that Chen Tian would stand up for him at a time like this. He didn't like Chen Tian very much, and he didn't support his sister marrying him. But at this moment, he felt that Chen Tian was quite loyal. Wu Chen Tian, did you see that? This brother-in-law of yours doesn't give you face at all. Don't worry about this. Zhao Qibing humphed coldly. He wanted Chen Tian to stay out of this. Seeing that the situation was about to explode, Su Shihan sighed helplessly. Sun Yikai was kind enough to speak up for her. Su Shihan naturally didn't want anything to happen to him. Young Master Zhao, if that's the case, then I'll drink a cup with you, but I'll use tea instead of wine. Shihan said that to divert Zhao Qibing's attention so that he wouldn't go against Sun Yikai. Zhao Qibing heard Shihan's words and was overjoyed. He thought that Shihan was attracted by his domineering aura. Shihan didn't give him any face before, but now she suddenly changed her attitude. It must be because what he did just now was very manly. Shihan was moved. From the looks of it, Shihan had the tendency to worship violence. Showing his strength often was good for hitting on girls. Okay. Miss Su, please. Zhao Qibing made a gesture and didn't bother with Sun Yikai anymore. Sun Yikai naturally knew that Shihan was helping him out. He sighed and shook his head. He was about to leave when he heard a voice of objection. Han, Xiao Xiao's looking for you. Go and accompany her. Lin Yi walked over and stood in front of Zhao Qibing, blocking Shihan. I'll drink with this cripple. Wah. Zhao Qibing heard this voice and was shocked. He was too familiar with this voice. Wasn't this Lin Yi's voice? His legs were crippled twice because of him. Now Uncle Zhu was still lying in bed, and Yaoang was covered in needles. Zhao Qibing didn't dare to offend someone like this. Shihan was taken aback when she saw Lin Yi suddenly coming to help. She didn't think that Lin Yi would call Zhao Qibing a cripple. With Zhao Qibing's personality, how would he react? Chapter 1302. Chapter 1300. Sun Jingyi's brother. Huh. Isn't this Lin Yi boss? Since Miss Su is busy, I won't disturb you anymore. Qibing was depressed, but he didn't dare to act rashly. He didn't want to die. Lin Yi would really kill someone. With that, he signaled Sihua to push him away from his troublesome place. The speed was so fast that it was unbelievable. Sun Yikai was curious. Just who is this Lin Yi? How could he make Qibing so afraid? However, Chen Tian didn't think much of it. He knew that Lin Yi broke Qibing's legs, and he also heard that Lin Yi killed one and injured one from House Yu. He felt very complicated when he saw Lin Yi again. On one hand, he regretted going against Lin Yi, but on the other hand, he hated the relationship between Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. Lin Yi looked at Qibing's back and didn't say anything. He turned to Sun Yikai. Sun Yikai, right? We meet again. You are. Sun Yikai looked at Lin Yi confused. He obviously couldn't remember where he saw Lin Yi before. Lin Yi, we met at the Sea View Villa District. Lin Yi smiled. You were driving a Ferrari. Ah. Sun Yikai was reminded by Lin Yi and suddenly remembered where he saw Lin. You're Meng Yao's family. Yes, I'm her follower and bodyguard. Lin Yi nodded. So it's you. Thank you for helping me just now. Sunny Kai couldn't help but blush after knowing who Lin Yi was. He told Lin Yi that he would protect Lin Yi, but now, who was protecting who? Let's go talk. Lin Yi had a good impression of Sunny Kai, so he invited him. Then I'll do as you say. Sun Kai nodded generously. Qintian didn't have a good relationship with Lin Yi, and naturally, he wouldn't follow him. There was nothing for him to do here, so he went to find the Xiao brothers. Su Shihan was sitting with Xiao Xiao, chatting. Zhao Qibing's harassment and Lin Yi's forceful appearance made the young masters of the scene give up on disturbing Su Shihan. Many of them didn't know who Lin Yi was, but someone who could make Zhao Qibing suffer was no ordinary person. Plus, during the completion ceremony of Zhao Qibing's skyscraper, there were people who remembered Lin Yi. He was the one who injured Uncle Zhu and broke Zhao Qibing's legs. Who would want to mess with such a cruel character? Lin Yi found a place and sat with Sunny Kai. You're from House Sun? Who is Sun Jingyi to you? You know my sister? Sunny Kai was curious. Lin Yi was only a bodyguard. It was already out of Sun Kai's expectation that he could scare Zhao Qibing. He didn't think that Lin Yi would talk about his sister as soon as they sat down. Yes, we have a good relationship. Lin Yi thought about his identity as half a lover and didn't know if he should cry or laugh. What kind of weird identity was this? I remember now. You're Lin Yi, my sister's boyfriend. Sun Kai slapped his forehead, connecting the person in front of him with the person Sun Jingyi was talking about. Sun Kai came to Songzhan this time. One of the main reasons was to persuade Sun Jingyi to return to House Sun and get engaged to House Wu. Sun Kai himself was a student in Songzhan, so the role of persuader fell on him. But Sun Kai was different from the other people in House Sunday. He had a good relationship with Sun Jingyi, and he didn't only think about benefits, so he got along well with Sun Jingyi. This time, Sun Jingyi clearly told Sun Kai to go back and tell House Sun that she already had a boyfriend, and that she didn't like Wu Qintian. And from Sun Jingyi's mouth, Sun Kai also got the name of her boyfriend, Lin Yi. Of course, Sun Kai didn't plan to report this information to House Sunday. He just wanted to have a chance to meet this future brother-in-law and help his sister check his character. However, before Sun Kai could go look for Lin Yi, the two of them ran into each other in this kind of situation. Your sister's boyfriend? That's what your sister told you? Lin Yi didn't expect Sun Kai to know so many things. Isn't Sun Jingyi's relationship with House Sun not very good? She told you these things? House Sun is House Sun. I am me. My sister and I have a good relationship. Sun Kai smiled bitterly and said, I'm not the head of House Sun, nor am I the heir, so there are some things that I can't make decisions on. And you can also see that I'm very against those crooked ways. I can see that I have a good impression of you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have helped you out. Lin Yi said, but there's nothing between me and your sister. I'm just her fake boyfriend to trick Wu Qintian. Oh, Sun Kai paused. He didn't expect Lin Yi to say this. You're saying that you're a fake? I have a girlfriend. She's over there, chatting with Su Shihan. Lin Yi pointed at Xiao Xiao and said, so you don't have to worry too much about me and your sister. There's nothing between us. So that's how it is. Sun Kai didn't suspect anything. From his perspective, Lin Yi had no reason to lie to him. If it was someone else, if they really were Sun Jingyi's boyfriend, they would try to please him, his brother-in-law. Why would he say that he was a fake? Plus, he purposely announced that he had a girlfriend. Didn't this mean that there was no chance for him? If Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi really had a relationship, he wouldn't say this. Sun Jingyi seems to be very pitiful. She didn't have parents since she was young. Lin Yi asked. Yeah, my sister's background is actually very pitiful. Her surname isn't Sun. She's my aunt's child. But my aunt and uncle's husband died a violent death, so my sister was raised by House Sun and changed her surname to Sunday. Sun Kai didn't hide anything. If Sun Jingyi could get Lin Yi to pretend to be her boyfriend, and Lin Yi knew some things about House Sun, then their relationship must be very good. There was nothing wrong with Sun Kai saying this. I see. No wonder she's so stubborn. But she and Wu Qintian really aren't compatible. Wu Qintian's IQ is really low. Other than being a little arrogant, He's not a bad person. Lin Yi's evaluation of Wu Qintian was very accurate. Chapter 1303. Investigating the Dark. I know a little about this, but healing is also very powerful. It can heal people. It's not any worse than others. The foundation of a noble family doesn't necessarily lie in fighting and killing. Lin Yi was a doctor, so he knew very well how powerful a doctor was. A famous doctor was someone every noble family would fight to win over. That's right, but the mental cultivation method of our Sun family is too difficult. One level can only heal and support one person. The descendants of the Sun family, I'm afraid, will only be able to master one level in our entire lives. It's even more difficult to break through. Sun Yikai said, because of this, the Sun family's use is a lot weaker. We can't heal everyone, so it feels a little useless. Otherwise, with the nature of the Sun family, it wouldn't be difficult for us to enter the ranks of the hidden noble families. Sun Yikai saw through it all. Lin Yi only remembered that the special thing about the Sun family's mental cultivation method was that it had limitations. Because of this, the Sun family's development was limited. Only through marriage could they increase their strength and maximize their benefits. Otherwise, after the descendants of the Sun family heal someone, they could only heal and support one person for the rest of their life. If that person didn't join the other family, there was no point in staying in the Sun family. So the only way was marriage. What level are you at now? Have you healed anyone before? Lin Yi asked. Me? I haven't reached the first level yet. Sun Yikai smiled bitterly. It's not that easy to train. My sister is so talented, but she has only cultivated the first level to perfection. It will be extremely difficult for her to break through. Actually, I feel that you could try to train in an offensive type of mental cultivation method. Lin Yi suggested, sometimes making some changes might not be a bad thing. I've thought about it, but every family's mental cultivation method is confidential. Why would they let an outsider like me train in it? Sun Yikai smiled bitterly. Also, the mental cultivation method of the Sun family is very special. As long as you train in it, the qi that is introduced into your body will be automatically converted by the mental cultivation method. I'm afraid it's not very practical to train in other mental cultivation methods. I'm just saying, you'll have to rely on yourself for the details. Lin Yi patted Ikai's shoulder. All right, I won't disturb your time. Wu Qintian has been looking over here many times. Don't cause trouble for House Sun because of me. Qintian doesn't have a brain. Just deal with him appropriately. All right, thanks for the reminder. Sun Yikai stood up and walked over to Qintian. Shirhan, on the other hand, had ended her conversation with Xiao Xiao. After all, this was her celebration banquet. She didn't want to, but she had to go. She couldn't just sit here and talk to Xiao Xiao alone. During this time, Feng Sanwang had been watching the scene coldly. When Zhao Qibing came to cause trouble for Su Shirhan, he didn't make a move. From his perspective, as long as it didn't exceed a certain limit, he wouldn't make a move in public. Of course, with Lin Yi's help, there was no need for Feng Sanwang to make a move. However, Feng Sanwang took Lin Yi very seriously. He decided to report Lin Yi's situation to his master when he had time. Zhao Qibing's face was very dark. He didn't think that Shirhan and Lin Yi would be together. Seeing Shirhan and Xiao Xiao talking intimately, Zhao Qibing knew that he had no chance at all. In terms of medical skills, Lin Yi wasn't weaker than Yao Wang. In fact, he was even better. Although Zhao Qibing didn't want to admit it, he had to. With Lin Yi's interference, he wouldn't have the chance to get intimate with Xiao Xiao anymore. Ruining my good time. Zhao Qibing gritted his teeth. Master Bing, she's just a celebrity. Let's just forget about it. Siwa was a little afraid now. This matter involved Lin Yi, and he didn't dare to fight head-on. He could only clench his teeth and give up. What else can I do? Zhao Qibing felt very useless. I don't know what my dad is thinking. It's just a small Lin Yi. It's fine if he just sent people to kill him, but he actually kept him alive until now. The head of the house has his own difficulties. Although he's the head of the house in name, they're still the head of the house, so? Siwa said vaguely. It wasn't a secret that the head of the house didn't like Zhao Qibing. Old fart, I'm his grandson, and he doesn't like me. Zhao Qibing knew the reason as well. He humphed unhappily. Because of the conflict between Lin Yi and Zhao Qibing, the celebration ended peacefully. Those who wanted to get close to Shirhan didn't have such thoughts anymore. Looking at Shirhan, who was surrounded by the crowd, Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao only waved at her from afar and left. Zhao Fafa had been looking for Tang Yun's information these 2 days. He spent money to hire a few housewives. They were the type of people who liked to chat with others when they had nothing better to do. Zhao Fafa asked them to find out where Tang Yun lived and her family situation. Zhao Fafa was humiliated, and naturally, he wasn't happy. As far as he was concerned, he was the #1 young master in Songsan. How could he not handle a girl? One had to know that House Zhao's backing was very strong. Soon, Zhao Fafa got all the information about Tang Yun's family from these housewives. After all, there weren't many beautiful teenage girls in the area. With these housewives' information, it was very easy to lock on a Tang Yun. And so, Tang Yun's complete information was out. Mrs. Tang loved to brag and brag. So when she chatted with the housewives, it was only natural for her to spill the beans about her family's affairs. She didn't even know that she was being interrogated. Tang Yun, 18 years old, Songshan's first high school's third-year student. Her parents were unemployed, and they used to work in an electronics factory in Songsan. After the electronics factory was restructured, Mrs. Tang was laid off, and Mr. Tang was bedridden due to work injury. It was only this year that Tang Yun's family met a rich man, and the Tang family's life got better. Zhao Fafa's face turned cold as he looked at Tang Yun's information. He thought she was some rich girl, but it turned out to be a Cinderella, but someone else beat her to it. You're just a bitch, and I thought you were so noble. Zhao Fafa smiled coldly. Wait till I find out your man's background. Then I'll play you to death. How dare you give me that attitude? Who do you think I, Zhao Fafa, am? Chapter 1304. Soon, Lin Yi's information was sent to Zhao Fafa's phone. Zhao Fafa's friend was also the son of a small boss. He had some money in his pocket, but he didn't have much influence in the school. After all, Songshan's first school was full of talents, rich people, and young masters. People like Zhou Ruoming and Zhong Pingliang were the most influential people in the school. As a result, there was a limit to what they could find out about Lin Yi. Only Ruoming, Pinliang, and the others knew about the deeper details, and they couldn't possibly tell anyone about it. They wouldn't let people laugh at them if they knew about it. One of the new Big Four had an affair with many school beauties. Was he good at fighting? Did you beat up a gangster boss in school? Zhao Fafa looked at the information on the phone and mumbled. It seems like this kid is a bit tricky. I need to get help. The information wasn't detailed, so Zhao Fafa thought that he was just a rich young master. Although he was good at fighting, he thought that 2 fists couldn't fight against 4 hands. He just needed to scare Lin Yi a bit, and he would use both kindness and force. This kid wouldn't be so stupid. Since he had an affair with many school beauties, he wouldn't care about Tang Yun anymore. Even if he asked him to give up, it shouldn't be a problem, right? With that thought, Zhao Fafa called his follower Sun Xiaoxing. Sun Xiaoxing was Zhao Fafa's follower, and they grew up together. Zhao Fafa's family became rich, but Sun Xiaoxing's family was still poor, so Sun Xiaoxing became Zhao Fafa's follower. Zhao Fafa's confidence was inflated. Naturally, he wanted a certain amount of power, and so he sent Sun Xiaoxing to join the underworld. Although Sun Xiaoxing was a latecomer, he used Zhao Fafa's money to recruit many underlings. Of course, these followers were just small gangsters. They couldn't be compared to the big gangs. But even so, Zhao Fafa felt that it was enough to find some people to scare Lin Yi. From his point of view, Lin Yi was just a student. No matter how good he was nothing in front of people like Sun Xiaoxing. Xiaoxing, where are you? Fafa asked. Brother Zhao, I'm at Uncle Zhao's construction site. Just now, there were a few little bastards who came here to collect the number, but they were chased away by me. Sun Xiaoxing said. Not bad. I didn't expect you to be so awesome now. You can even protect my father. Zhao Fafa was very pleased with himself. It seemed like his plan was right. He raised a gang leader, and his family would have someone to protect them from now on. It's all thanks to Brother Zhao's good training. Sun Xiaoxing said, How many times have I told you? Call me Fa bro, don't call me Zhao bro. Zhao Fafa was dissatisfied with the way Sun Xiaoxing addressed him. He was more satisfied with the way Sun Xiaoxing called him Fa bro, yes, Brother Fa. But this title is a bit awkward. Sun Xiaoxing said. It doesn't matter if it's awkward or not, just do it. Zhao Fafa humphed. Are you done over there? If you are, help me teach someone a lesson. Teach someone a lesson? Which idiot offended you? Fa bro. Sun Xiaoxing asked without any surprise. This wasn't the first time he helped Zhao Fafa with something like this. Sun Xiaoxing understood that Zhao Fafa wanted him to go to the underworld to solve some problems for him. It's a student from Songshan's first school. I'll call him out and scare him a little. Zhao Fafa said, I don't think you need to do anything. Just call all your underlings over and stand there. I think he'll be scared to death. All right, no problem. Songshan's first school, right? I'll go over now. Sun Xiaoxing was relieved after hearing that the person was just a student. Same plan as before. Find a good restaurant nearby and have a meal with him. Zhao Fafa ordered. Every time Zhao Fafa wanted to teach someone a lesson, he would arrange for a high-class restaurant to have a meal with the excuse that he was inviting the person to have a meal. Naturally, the person would pay for the meal after the meal. Zhao Fafa wanted to teach someone a lesson, but Zhao Fafa wanted to teach someone a lesson. Although Zhao Fafa wasn't poor, he enjoyed the feeling of taking advantage of succor. He parked the car in front of Songshan's first school's entrance. Zhao Fafa got off the car and walked in. Since Zhao Fafa was young, the guards didn't mind him. They thought that he was a student and didn't stop him. Zhao Fafa entered the school smoothly and found his underling, Wu Liuqi. Which class is that brat from? Bring me to him, Zhao Fafa said arrogantly. Today he combed his hair to the back, just like the god of gamblers in the movies. Yes, Fa bro. Wu Liuqi quickly nodded. Fa bro, you're getting more and more handsome. You're so cool. Huh, you really know how to talk. Don't worry, I won't forget about you. I'll bring that kid to have a feast later. Come with me. Zhao Fafa was overjoyed by Wu Liuqi's praise. Wu Liuqi was a second-year student. He brought Zhao Fafa to the classroom of 12th year class 5. Fa bro, this is the place. Lin Yi is in this class. And ask him to come out. Zhao Fafa nodded. He felt that it would be inappropriate for him to ask Lin Yi out himself. It was better to let Wu Liuqi do it. Lin Yi, come out for a second. Wu Liuqi didn't hesitate and yelled at the classroom door. He had Zhao Fafa to take care of this, so he wasn't afraid of anything. Lin Yi heard that someone was looking for him at the door, but he didn't care. He walked out of the classroom and looked at the two people at the door. He felt that one of them looked familiar. Wasn't this the guy who claimed to be one of the 4 young masters of Songshan? You're looking for me? Lin Yi didn't expect this guy to come looking for him. You're Lin Yi? Zhao Fafa asked arrogantly. Yes. What's the matter? Lin Yi asked back. Come with me. I'll treat you to a meal. We'll talk about something. Zhao Fafa said to Lin Yi. Treat me to a meal? Talk about something? Lin Yi looked at Zhao Fafa suspiciously. Would he be so kind as to treat him to a meal? Lin Yi didn't believe it at all. According to Lin Yi's estimation, this kid was looking for trouble. Treating him to a meal was just an excuse. Chapter 1305. Yes, I was too reckless last time, so I'll be the host this time. Let's talk about what happened last time. Zhao Fafa nodded. All right, let's go. Lin Yi nodded. BSB. Zhao Fafa didn't expect Lin Yi to be so easygoing. He was overjoyed and quickly led the way with Wu Liuqi, leaving the school with Lin Yi. When they reached the school gate, Zhao Fafa realized that there was a ticket on his car. The school gate was in no parking zone, and Lin Yi had parked his car at the food street behind the school. Naturally, He wouldn't park his car here. Zhao Fafa was a bit pissed. It wasn't about the ticket, it was about his face. His car got a ticket in front of Lin Yi. It made him feel embarrassed, as if he didn't know the rules. F.A. bro, who posted this? Wu Yoqi saw Zhao Fafa's unhappy face and immediately guessed what he was thinking. He ran to the car and tore the ticket off, throwing it on the ground. Lin Yi saw the ticket, but he was too lazy to expose Zhao Fafa and Wu Liuqi's fake behavior. Liuqi, this is a sports car. It can only take 2 people. You can follow behind in a taxi? Zhao Fafa turned his head. Sure, no problem. Wu Yoqi wanted to get close to Zhao Fafa. He knew that Zhao Fafa was rich now, and he had a powerful relative. So eating was a small matter. His family was well off, and he didn't lack a meal. The key was to please Zhao Fafa. Looking at Lin Yi getting into his car alone, Zhao Fafa was overjoyed. This kid was really dumb. Did he really think that he was going to treat him to a meal? What an idiot. When Sun Xiaoxing brought people to the room, he would be scared to death. Sun Xiaoxing chose the most expensive restaurant in Songshan, Tyrant Fish. It was one of the most expensive restaurants in Songshan. The price was not any lower than Starlight Hotel. Zhao Fafa parked his car in front of Tyrant Fish and entered the restaurant with Lin Yi. Welcome. As soon as the 3 of them entered the door, a waitress bowed politely and greeted them. It could be seen that the service here was top-notch. Looking at the waitress's appearance and height, one could tell that the quality of this place was not low. The decoration of this place was not inferior to that of the Starlight Hotel. Lin Yi had never been here before, but he'd heard Xiao Xiao mention it before. The girl had always wanted to have a feast here, but she didn't have the money or the opportunity. It was quite a pity that he didn't bring Xiao Xiao here today. One of Xiao Xiao's greatest joys in life was eating delicacies. She probably had one less day to eat, and so she was very familiar with all the food cities in Songshan. Room 588, Zhao Fafa said proudly to the waitress. We've made a reservation. Did Mr. Sun make a reservation? Please follow me. The waiter said after checking the PDA on his palm. Looking at the advanced equipment in the hands of the waiter, one could also indirectly reflect the level of this place. After Lin Yi, Zhao Fafa, and Wu Liuqi entered the room, Sun Xiaoxing was already waiting inside, but his men hadn't arrived yet. Zhao Fafa planned to let Lin Yi order the dishes and talk for a while before calling Sun Xiaoxing's men to scare Lin Yi. If they appeared too early, he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't dare to order the dishes, and then there wouldn't be any fun in scaring people. F.A. bro, you're here. Sun Xiaoxing stood up and said respectfully. This is Lin Yi, the main character of this meal. Zhao Fafa pointed at Lin Yi and gave Sun Xiaoxing a look. Lin Yi, welcome. Sun Xiaoxing immediately understood what Zhao Fafa meant. It wasn't the first time he did this. You're the guest. You order the dishes. With that, Sun Xiaoxing passed the menu to Lin Yi, letting him order the dishes. Oh, okay. Lin Yi didn't know what Zhao Fafa was planning, but Lin Yi didn't care. He took the menu and looked at it. The dishes here weren't cheap, and some were ridiculously expensive. Lin Yi was like Xiao Xiao. He took the menu and ordered the expensive dishes. Even if he knew that Zhao Fafa was rich, Lin Yi still wanted to rip him off. Unknowingly, Lin Yi was influenced by Xiao Xiao's style. Otherwise, according to Lin Yi's character, he wouldn't come out to eat with Zhao Fafa. He would grab Zhao Fafa's collar and throw him down the stairs. Seeing how Lin Yi ordered so many expensive dishes, Zhao Fafa's face lit up with joy. Before, he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't order these expensive dishes. He was thinking of how to persuade Lin Yi to order more expensive dishes. That was the only way to get Lin Yi to pay the bill. But Lin Yi was the first to order the delicacies. It seemed that the kid was a little retarded. He didn't know that he was the one paying for the food, did he? This is all I've ordered. Do you want to add more? Lin Yi passed the menu back to Zhao Fafa and asked. Zhao Fafa looked at Lin Yi's order. Lin Yi ordered almost 200,000 yuan worth of seafood. This made Zhao Fafa very satisfied. Although Zhao Fafa's family was rich and he drove a sports car, his monthly allowance was only this much. He didn't want to spend so much money on food. Xiaoxing, Liuqi, you guys order more. It's my treat. Just order the expensive dishes. Zhao Fafa passed the menu back to Sun, Xiaoxing, and Wu Liuqi. Okay, thank you, F.A. bro. I won't hold back then. Sun Xiaoxing took the menu knowingly and began to order more dishes that cost more than 100,000 yuan at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Sun Xiaoxing's family was different from Zhao Fafa and Wu Liuqi. His family didn't have much money, although Zhao Fafa gave him 50,000 yuan every month to develop his business. How could he bear to spend money on food? That money was also used to recruit followers. So how could he let go of such a good opportunity to eat to his heart's content? He ordered some expensive seafood that he couldn't eat normally. He was going to have a good meal later. After Sun Xiaoxing finished ordering, Wu Liuqi also took the menu, but he didn't order more. Instead, he told the waiter to order the same things that Sun Xiaoxing ordered. That's it. Don't be shy. Order whatever you want. Zhao Fafa saw that the two were cooperating, and he was elated. This was great. He ordered 500,000 worth of dishes in one go. Lin, he was going to have a headache later. Let's see how he pays the bill. Chapter 1306. F.A. bro already said that he's treating. Why are you guys still being so polite? Lin, he opened his mouth. How about this? Since F.A. bro is so passionate, we'll give them 2 more servings of everything they ordered. Yes, sir. The waiter nodded politely. He didn't think that the people in the room couldn't afford the bill at all. He heard that these people came in a Ferrari. How could they not have money? And give me 3 more servings. Zhao Fafa felt that it wasn't enough, so he asked the waiter to give him 1 more. He wanted to kill Lin E. He wanted Lin E to die. All right, is there anything else you need? The waiter nodded. No, go. And serve the dishes, we need to talk. Zhao Fafa waved his hand, signaling the waiter to leave. After the waiter left, Zhao Fafa looked at Lin E with a serious face. Do you know why I asked you to come here? What's the matter? Aren't you treating me to a meal? Is there something else? Lin E paused and asked back. Zhao Fafa didn't expect this person to be so careless. Was he stupid? He was fine. Why did he invite him to a meal? Wasn't he bored? Isn't that so? Lin E asked. Do you think I'm stupid? Zhao Fafa was in pain. Why was this person so stupid? Normal people would have noticed something at this moment, but this kid seemed to be fine. He didn't even notice the danger in front of him. Seems like it. Otherwise, why would you spend so much money to treat me to a meal? Lin E nodded. Fuck. Zhao Fafa heard Lin Yi's words. He was furious. He slammed the table. Kid, I'm telling you, I'm here to talk to you. What happened last time isn't over yet. Oh. Lin E nodded. You invited me to dinner just for the matter last time? What happened last time is in the past, and I don't plan to pursue it. You don't have to treat me to a big meal. Zhao Fafa wanted to cry. How could there be such an idiot in this world who didn't understand what was being said? She was threatening him, but he took it as an apology. Why was this person's IQ so low? All right, I know you feel bad about it, so treat me to a meal. No problem, I accept your kindness. Nothing needs to be said. Lin E said. Damn you. Sun Xiaoxing saw the ugly expression on Zhao Fafa's face. He slammed the table and pointed at Lin E. Kid, listen up. F.A. bro didn't call you here to apologize. He's here to cause you trouble. Find trouble with me? Treating me to a meal is to cause trouble for me? Then I'd rather have more troubles in the future. Lin E said indifferently. You. Sun Xiaoxing wanted to cry. Was there something wrong with his speech? Why didn't Lin E understand what she was saying? At this moment, there was a knock on the door. The waiter was here to serve the dishes. Now was not the time to eat, and hotels of this level all had prepared food, so it didn't take long for the delicious dishes they had ordered to be served on the table. The waiter's arrival helped Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing out of the predicament. They were at their wits' end when they met someone like Lin E who didn't understand words. In the past, those who were scared were also smart. As long as he gave them a hint, they would be scared witless. However, this kid in front of him, After hinting for a long time, he misunderstood and thought that he really wanted to treat him to a meal. The waiter left after placing the dishes on the table. Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing, on the other hand, looked at each other. They were thinking about how to continue the conversation with Lin Yi. But before they could speak, Lin Yi spoke first. This crab is really big. It's a giant. I heard it's called king crab, right? Let's eat while it's hot. If you have anything to say, we can talk after the meal. With that, he didn't care about Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing as he took the crab and started eating. Zhao Fafa and Sun Xiaoxing were speechless. Wu Liuqi, on the other hand, didn't know what was going on and didn't dare to speak. Ahem, Lin Yi, put the crab down first and listen to me. Zhao Fafa looked at Lin eating the crab. He was a little depressed and snorted. Oh, go ahead. I'll listen while I eat. Lin, he didn't seem to want to put the crab down. Tell me the truth. I like Tang Yin. Give her to me, and I'll let this go. Otherwise, Zhao Fafa said threateningly. But even he himself felt that the threat wasn't as threatening as it sounded out from his mouth. In the past, every time Zhao Fafa scared people, they would be scared and sit there, not moving at all. But now, the person in front of him was Lin Yi, who was stuffing himself with food. It was funny no matter how he looked at it. Oh, Lin Yi replied and continued eating. I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Zhao Fafa was furious. Kid, F.A. bro is talking to you. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. What do you want? Tell me. Sun Xiaoxing couldn't hold it in anymore. I'm telling you, I'm from the underworld. Don't think that you can do anything just because you have some skills. I can kill you easily. Oh, Lin Yi replied indifferently. Who knew if he heard what Sun Xiaoxing said or not? Kid, did you hear me or not? Zhao Fafa couldn't stand Lin Yi's attitude anymore. Xiaoxing, call people over. Yes. Sun Xiaoxing was waiting for this moment. He was very angry at Lin Yi. He was waiting for Zhao Fafa to call people over to teach Lin Yi a lesson. Sun Xiaoxing's men were already prepared. They were waiting in the room next door. So, when Sun Xiaoxing gave the signal, the men in the room next door rushed into his room. These men were all wearing black shirts and pants. Their hair was dyed in different colors. Although they didn't have any weapons in their hands, their waists were bulging. Obviously, they had a dagger or something like that in their pockets. Zhao bro, Sun bro. These men knew Zhao Fafa. They knew that Zhao Fafa was Sun Xiaoxing's boss. So, they greeted Zhao Fafa as soon as they entered the room. Zhao Fafa frowned. Obviously, he wasn't happy with the name Zhao bro. How many times do I have to tell you? Call me F.A. bro or F.A. master. Yes, brother F.A. The underlings hurriedly repeated. Chapter 1307. Don't say those useless things. Zhao Fafa heard Lin Yi's inaccurate pronunciation and naturally knew that he was teasing him. He pointed at Lin Yi. See that? If you nod your head today, I'll leave with these people and pretend that nothing happened. If you don't nod your head, then I'm sorry, but you'll have to call for an ambulance. Oh, so you're saying that I'll go to the hospital if I eat too much? Lin Yi pointed at the delicious food on the table. Indeed, there's quite a lot. If I ate all of this, I'd really end up in the hospital. How about this? I'll call my girlfriend and ask her to come eat with us. Lin, you want to call Xiao Xiao. There was so much good food here, he should let her enjoy it. Otherwise, it'd be a waste. Zhao Fafa paused after hearing Lin Yi's words. Call your girlfriend? Wasn't Lin Yi's girlfriend Tang Yin? Could it be that this kid changed his mind and wanted to give Tang Yin to him? This kid wasn't an idiot. He just didn't want to lose face. Was that why he used such a subtle method to get what he wanted? Yes, that was very likely. Zhao Fafa felt that his IQ was too high. He immediately thought of what Lin Yi was thinking. It seemed that his threat was effective. Lin Yi was scared. He just didn't want to lose face. At least you know what's good for you. I thought you were stubborn. Hurry up and make the call. Don't waste time. Zhao Fafa thought of Tang Yun's body and felt an itch in his heart. Lin Yi didn't correct Zhao Fafa. He picked up the phone and called Xiao Xiao. Lenny, honey, where did you go? Why didn't I see you after PE class? Xiao Xiao had just finished her class and was wondering where Lenny had gone. Drive to Tyrant Fish Seafood Restaurant right now. Someone's treating us to a seafood feast. Lin Yi said. It's a room reserved by that Sun guy. Okay, I'll go right away. Xiao Xiao agreed immediately. She loved big meals, especially when she was with Lin Yi. It was free. Lin Yi didn't drive before, leaving his car at school. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had a set of keys, so she could just drive over. Kid, you're pretty smart, aren't you? If that's the case, I won't beat you up. Zhao Fafa waved his hand and gestured to the people in the room. Everyone, sit down and eat. This kid is still on the right path. Thank you, F.A. bro. When these people saw all kinds of delicious seafood on the table, their eyes were about to turn green. Previously, they were in another private room, only drinking tea and waiting for orders. There was nothing to eat at all. Moreover, it was rare for them to eat such delicious food. At this moment, their eyes were shining with desire to eat. Wait, just as these people were about to sit down, Lin Yi waved his hand and stopped them. If they eat, what about my girlfriend? Didn't you come here for nothing? Fafa blinked. That's right. How could Tang Yin eat with a bunch of vulgar people when she's here? What's more, Tang Yun was about to become his woman, so he had to treat Tang Yun even better. All right, you guys stand here for a bit. I'll treat you later. Zhao Fafa waved his hand and gestured for them to continue standing. Although these people were a little disappointed, they didn't dare to argue with Zhao Fafa. After all, their money was supported by Zhao Fafa, so they could only stand aside obediently. Very soon, there was a knock on the door. Zhao Fafa was very excited. He couldn't wait for Tang Yun anymore. He waved his hand, and one of his men opened the door. But the person who came in made Zhao Fafa pause. It wasn't Tang Yun, but another girl. She was pretty, but Zhao Fafa was obsessed with Tang Yun these days. He wouldn't give up until he got what he wanted. You are. Zhao Fafa looked at the person weirdly. Did she knock on the wrong door? Lenny, honey, you really are here. Xiao Xiao didn't even bother with Zhao Fafa. When she saw Lin Yi, she excitedly ran over and sat beside Lin Yi. She looked at the food on the table and exclaimed, There's so much good food. Yeah, hurry up and eat. Let's eat together. Lin Yi put a giant crab on Xiao Xiao's plate. Sure. Xiao Xiao didn't care. She was a little suspicious of the atmosphere in the room, but with Lin Yi here, she didn't have to worry about anything. Since Lin Yi told her to eat, she was ready to eat. Lin Yi, didn't you say your girlfriend was here? What's going on? Are you messing with me? Zhao Fafa couldn't take it anymore as he looked at the couple who only had food in their eyes. He slammed the table and roared, Where's Tang Yun? I didn't say Tang Yun was coming. Isn't she my girlfriend? Lin Yi pointed at Xiao Xiao innocently. Her? Isn't your girlfriend Tang Yun? Zhao Fafa frowned. Tang Yun sis is the first wife, and I'm the second wife. What's wrong with that? Oh right, who are you? Xiao Xiao looked at Zhao Fafa strangely after explaining. She didn't know who this guy was. Oh, he's the one who's treating us. Lin Yi said, Ignore him. He's too rich to spend. He's treating us. Oh, there's an idiot like him in this world. He's so dumb. Xiao Xiao nodded and started eating the crab. Eat my ass. I'm the one who's going to kill you. You're toying with me? Zhao Fafa finally realized that Lin Yi had been toying with him all along. This guy wasn't an idiot at all. He underestimated him. I'm not toying with you. I've been telling you the truth, but you didn't believe me, Lin Yi said. All right, take a seat first. My girlfriend and I are going to eat. Beat him up. Zhao Fafa was really pissed now. He pointed at Lin Yi and ordered his men at the door. You talk too much. Lin Yi threw a crab shell at Zhao Fafa's mouth. The crab shell wasn't sharp, but with Lin Yi's strength, it stuck around Zhao Fafa's mouth and sealed his mouth. Chapter 1308. Everyone was scared. Zhao bro, what's wrong? Sun Xiaoxing saw that Zhao Fafa was hit by a crab shell and jumped up. Don't call me Zhao bro. Call me F.A. bro. Zhao Fafa said with a trembling voice. Okay, F.A. bro, what's wrong? Sun Xiaoxing thought. Why was he still thinking about how to address him at this time? He was in a hurry, and he was used to calling him Zhao Bro Beat. Beat him up. Zhao Fafa didn't expect Lin Yi to attack first. He pointed at Lin Yi and ordered, "Beat him up." Sun Xiaoxing heard Zhao Fafa's words and jumped up to order his men. Sun Xiaoxing's men were ready to attack, but they didn't know what to do after Lin Yi injured Zhao Fafa so suddenly. However, Sun Xiaoxing wouldn't make a move. He wasn't good at fighting. He only came out to recruit followers because he borrowed Zhao Fafa's money to get some followers. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A few crab legs flew out and pierced the faces of the men who were going to teach Lin Yi a lesson. The face was one of the most sensitive parts of the human body. Lin Yi's crab legs pierced through the men's faces, and they screamed in pain. "Wow, Lin Yi, honey, you're so strong," Xiao Xiao said excitedly. "But you should have pierced their eyes." What? The underlings, who were in so much pain, were planning on beating Lin Yi to death after pulling out the crab legs. But they froze upon hearing Xiao Xiao's words, cold sweat dripping down their foreheads. Pierce their eyes? Wouldn't that make them blind? Earlier, they were blinded by the pain and didn't think much about it. But now, they suddenly remembered that Lin Yi's aim was very good. The crab shell flew into Zhao Fafa's mouth in an instant, and these crab legs seemed to be very casual, but they were all accurate. Every crab leg hit the target. Therefore, these subordinates immediately calmed down. It was true that these people usually fought and bullied the weak, but it didn't mean that they weren't afraid of getting hurt. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary injury, it was blinding. If the crab's leg was stuck in his eye, he would definitely go blind without a doubt. There was no chance of luck at all. That makes sense. Let's stab the eye sockets then, Lin Yi said as he picked up a few crab legs from the table. Run! The man in front immediately started a retreat. He turned around and ran. He was the person closest to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi threw a crab leg, it would probably hit his eye first. With the first deserter, the others were naturally discouraged. These hooligans who had their faces pierced by the crab's foot ran faster than the other. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the room without a trace. It was true that these people took Zhao Fafa's money, but it was fine for them to eat, drink, and play. It was fine to scare the weak occasionally, but it was impossible for them to die or get injured. They weren't idiots. If they didn't run now, when would they run? And so, in an instant, only Zhao Fafa, Sun Xiaoxing, and Wu Youqi were left in the room. Sun Xiaoxing's face was very ugly. He didn't think that his sworn brothers would be so disloyal, running away in a blink of an eye. How could he face Zhao Fafa like this? At this time, the crab shell on Zhao Fafa's face was taken off. His face was full of blood, but it wasn't life-threatening. Zhao Fafa's face was filled with fear. This was the first time he was humiliated since he was crowned as one of the Songshan 4 young masters. In the past, he didn't need to say anything to threaten people, and they would be scared shitless. This was the first time he met someone like Lin Yi. Wu Youqi, is this the result of your investigation? Why is this Lin Yi so strong? Zhao Fafa wanted to cry. If he knew that Lin Yi was this ruthless, he wouldn't have thought of doing anything to him. But now that he was humiliated, he had to take revenge. F.A. bro, Lin Yi is only good at fighting alone in school. I've never heard of him using hidden weapons. Wu Youqi's face was bitter. Lin Yi was famous in school, but that was only in fighting alone. Hey Bao bro, Pin Liang, and Zhou Ruoming all suffered losses, but Wu Youqi didn't know about this. He didn't even know the difference between Golden Class Masters, and it was impossible for him to know about the conflicts between Lin Yi, Pin Liang, and Zhou Ruoming. He only saw the surface, but he realized that he was wrong. Lin Yi, I admit that you're better, but it's a small world. This isn't over yet. Zhao Fafa knew that he wouldn't be able to get back at Lin Yi today. He said those words and wanted to leave. From his point of view, Lin Yi wouldn't dare to do anything to him. He was someone with a strong background. Would Lin Yi kill him in front of everyone? Wait, pay the bill first, Lin Yi said faintly. It seemed like he didn't want Zhao Fafa to stay at all. Pay the bill? Lin Yi, don't push me too far. Zhao Fafa's face turned cold as he looked at Lin Yi with hatred. He didn't even have the intention to pay the bill. This concept didn't exist in his dictionary. From his point of view, it was already good enough that he didn't cause trouble for Lin Yi today. Asking him to pay the bill. Push you? Am I pushing you? You're the one who invited me here, aren't you? Lin Yi picked up a crab shell and looked at Zhao Fafa with a smile that wasn't a smile. Lin Yi, honey, you want to throw crab shells again? All right, throw them on his, but this time, Xiao Xiao said. Zhao Fafa's face darkened. He didn't expect Xiao Xiao to be so evil. She actually used such a dirty trick. He looked at the crab shell in Lin Yi's hand again. Zhao Fafa was really afraid that Lin Yi would throw it out if he didn't like it. Fine, I'll pay. Zhao Fafa gritted his teeth. He decided to endure it today, but there was still time. Zhao Fafa endured the pain in his mouth and asked Sun Xiaoxing to call the waiter. He paid the bill in front of Lin Yi and snorted before leaving the room. Before leaving, Zhao Fafa swore in his heart that he would return the humiliation today 100 times. He was a man with a strong backing. In front of his distant cousin, this Lin Yi was just a piece of trash. All the young masters in Songshan had to give face to his cousin. Zhao Fafa finally felt better after thinking about it. From his point of view, Lin Yi was already someone he could do whatever he wanted to him. Chapter 1309. Lingshan was troubled. How can it be fine? Why don't you put a crab shell on your mouth? Zhao Fafa couldn't help but get angry. You useless piece of trash. These are the men you hired? Dropping the ball at the most crucial moment. Giving you 100,000 every month for these ungrateful bastards? Sun Xiaoxing blushed. F.A. bro, you can't blame them. You can only blame that Lin Yi kid for being too cruel. Cruel? I didn't want to ask my cousin for help, but Lin Yi forced me to do it, so don't blame me for being merciless. If my cousin does it, Lin Yi will be crippled even if he doesn't die. Zhao Fafa snorted. Sir, what happened to you? The waiter saw the blood on Zhao Fafa's mouth and quickly reported it to the hotel manager. Since Zhao Fafa was a regular here, the manager took it very seriously. He ran over directly to show his concern for Zhao Fafa. But he didn't know that Zhao Fafa was still holding his anger. He replied angrily after hearing the manager's question. I cut myself on the crab, can't I? Why are you so nosy? What does it have to do with you? The manager was confused by Zhao Fafa's scolding, feeling depressed. He wanted to comfort Zhao Fafa, but he got scolded instead. Then, mister, please have a safe journey. The manager could only turn to Zhao Fafa with a smile on his face. In the room, Lin Yi watched as Xiao Xiao gobbled down the food, and he couldn't get tired of it. He didn't know when it started, but watching Xiao Xiao eat had become a pleasure for Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao was a girl who didn't put on airs, and she didn't try to be polite when eating. She loved to eat, and she didn't care about the small things. But because of Xiao Xiao's straightforwardness, Lin Yi liked her more and more. Don't eat too much, we'll take it back later. Lin Yi said, seafood is a cold type of food. If you eat it right, it will increase the energy in your body, and it will cause illness. I don't have long to live anyway. If I don't eat more of my favorite food, it'll be a great loss if I die. Xiao Xiao said nonchalantly, but then sighed. Man, forget it. I won't eat it. I don't want to die this early. I haven't lived enough yet. I'm really happy to be with you guys every day. Hee, then let's pack it up. Lin Yi said, we can still have a meal at night. Yes, I'll listen to you. Xiao Xiao nodded. Right, Lin Yi, honey, what's with that Zhao Fafa? Lin Yi told Xiao Xiao about Zhao Fafa's situation. Lin Yi didn't care about a small fry like this at all. He came with him today because he had nothing better to do, and he could even bring Xiao Xiao to a free meal. In fact, it wasn't that Lin Yi couldn't afford the meal, but it was because he was in a different mood. Bringing Xiao Xiao to a free meal made her very excited and happy. This girl really liked to trick people. So that's how it is. Lin Yi, honey, you know how to trick people now? Xiao Xiao laughed. Didn't I learn it from you? Lin Yi smiled. Unknowingly, Lin Yi's personality was changing as well, He was influenced by the people around him, and he was different from before. Lingshan had been very busy these days, and according to Huaijuan's analysis, she'd shifted her focus to the marketplace, sending a large number of police officers to all sorts of industries. There was only one direction to investigate, and that was whether or not someone had been offering high rewards to trick people into doing things for them. With a direction to investigate, the results weren't a problem. Very soon, the investigation teams all came back with news, and all the clues pointed to one place: underground fighting arenas. After an investigation by the police, they found that there were indeed people looking for waiters, truck drivers, temporary workers, hotel security guards, construction workers, and so on have a go at it. They offered a very high price tag, with a reward of 100,000 to 200,000. For many people, it was a certain temptation. Of course, not everyone took the bait, or there wouldn't be all these clues. Lingshan looked at the reports on the table, and finally, she felt like the dark clouds had been pushed aside, and she could see the clear sky. There was finally a clue to this case. With this important clue, the rest would be much simpler. She just needed to find the location of the arena. But this arena, Lingshan had never heard of it before, so it should be a new illegal place. Ding, ding, ding. Lingshan was flipping through the reports when she heard a knock on the door. Lingshan didn't think much about it and said casually, "Come in." "Lingshan, are you busy? Do you have time tonight? Want to have dinner together?" It was Xie Yufeng, who had left the school temporarily. He didn't have the face to stay in school anymore after what happened that day. "Yes, I'm busy," Lingshan replied faintly. "There's a case, and I have to work overtime tonight. Forget about dinner. We'll talk about it another day." Lingshan didn't have a good attitude towards Yufeng, but she didn't want to completely piss him off. Housey was a place that House Song couldn't afford to offend at the moment, and she didn't want to bring trouble to her house because of her stubbornness. She could only force herself to play along, hoping that Yufeng would back off. "Is that so? Another day is fine then." Yufeng didn't force her. He sat on the sofa across from Lingshan. "Did you get into some trouble? Do you need help? Just ask, I'll see what I can do." "Sorry, the case is confidential." Lingshan, naturally, wouldn't say much to Yufeng, in case he got involved in her work and life. She wouldn't be able to push him away. "Huh, I'm just saying." Yufeng felt a little awkward after hearing that, but there was nothing he could do about it. Lingshan's confidential made him stop asking. "I'm going to a meeting now, Mr. Yu. Please help yourself," Lingshan said. She didn't want Yufeng to stay in her office any longer. "All right, I'll be going then. I'll come find you when you're done with your work." Yufeng didn't say much, standing up and leaving the office. Yufeng was very experienced when it came to picking up girls, and he had his own way of dealing with cold beauties like Lingshan. That was to keep on pestering her. But he couldn't chase her too tightly. As long as he was shameless, he'd succeed. Chapter 1310. Lingshan didn't even have the mood to get up and send him off. She didn't know why, but seeing Yufeng made her feel uncomfortable. She felt that he was too fake, that he didn't give her any sense of security at all. It would be a miracle if she had feelings for him. Then she thought of Lin Yi. They were both men, but Lin Yi gave her a completely different feeling. She didn't have a good impression of Lin Yi at first, but that was only limited to the annoyance towards Lin Yi. It was the type where she wanted to fight with Lin Yi whenever she saw him. But it wasn't the type where she hated Lin Yi from the bottom of her heart. Yufeng, on the other hand, was more like disgust. She didn't even want to look at him for a second longer, now that she thought about it. Lin Yi was very direct sometimes and didn't know how to make her like him, but she really liked his honest way of speaking. Just thinking about Lin Yi made her heart uneasy. She didn't know why, but she wanted to give Lin Yi a call. Just hearing his voice would make her feel better. Lingshan didn't know if this counted as falling in love with Lin Yi, but she did know that ever since he saved her from the kidney trafficking company's basement, her mentality had changed. She'd given up on everything, and at the same time, she'd become attached to Lin Yi. The call went through, and she felt a little nervous. What was she supposed to say to Lin Yi? Should she say that she missed him? He'd probably call her Miss Brain Dead or Miss Idiot if she said that. "Hello? Miss Song? What's up?" Lin Yi's impression of Ling Shan was slowly changing. The two were friends now, and Lin Yi naturally couldn't call her Miss Brain Dead or Miss Idiot, but calling her Ling Shan or Shan Shan wasn't something he could bring himself to do. Calling her Miss Song would make them feel distant too, so Lin Yi just changed it to Miss Song. Oh, there's something. Ling Shan was very happy. It seemed that she'd improved in Lin Yi's impression of her. She'd gone from being an idiot to a little idiot, and now she was a normal girl. Not bad, not bad. What is it? Hurry up and tell me. I'm driving. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao had just come out of the Tyrant Fish Seafood restaurant and were on their way to school. It's like this. Didn't I tell you before about the missing people? Recently, there's been a lot of people from all walks of life disappearing mysteriously. Ling Shan said, according to my investigation, it's probably an underground boxing ring that's tricking these people into boxing. So, I wanted to ask you if you know anything about the underground boxing ring. I don't know. Lin Yi said subconsciously before pausing. Wait, what did you say? Underground boxing ring? Yeah, you know about it? Ling Shan asked happily. She'd sent people to investigate, but there was no news about the underground boxing ring. But this wasn't a surprise. Jiang Wen's underground boxing ring had passed the initial stage of promotion, and there was no need for that anymore. It was full of customers every day, and the regulars would introduce themselves to each other. The business would only get better and better, and there was no need for promotion. Boxing was illegal in the first place, and so these people wouldn't talk about it casually. They wouldn't tell people they weren't familiar with, either. It was only natural that Ling Shan couldn't find anything. I know, but I'll ask around for the specifics. Wait for my call, Lin Yi said. Ling Shan's words reminded Lin Yi of the person who gave out the flyers. And then Gooden barged into the ring himself and finished off that fighter Li with one punch. Finding the location of the underground boxing ring wasn't a hard thing for Lin Yi. Okay, I'll wait for your call then. Ling Shan was so happy that she wanted to cheer. Lin Yi really was her lucky star. One phone call was all it took to find a clue. Lin Yi was so awesome. Every time there was a problem, she could find the answer with Lin Yi. Hanging up the phone, Ling Shan stretched lazily. Her seductive posture was enough to mesmerize anyone, but no one was able to see it. She would only show this expression in front of Lin Yi. After all, her usual self was that of someone who'd been through a lot. Gooden didn't have a phone, but Yuan Yuan did. He'd been hanging out with Yuan Yuan these days, and Lin Yi didn't interfere. Gooden wouldn't be staying in Songshan for long, and he'd have to go back to West Star Village for sure. He finally found a love, and Lin Yi didn't want to disturb them. Gooden's mission was done, and the potion was sent over. Lin Yi had planned to take him around the city to play, but Gooden would be more than happy to play with Yuan Yuan now, after getting the address. Lin Yi called Ling Shan again. Miss Song, remember the address? Okay. Ling Shan didn't expect Lin Yi to get the answer so quickly. She nodded and took out a pen and paper. Tell me, the address is... Lin Yi told her the address. The opponent might have a master in the arena. There was a mystic physical practitioner before, but my friend killed him. I don't know if there's still one left. Just plan first. Oh, they have a mystic? Ling Shan didn't expect that there would be a master like that in an arena. I heard that it was a fighter in charge, but he's dead now. Don't worry, I'm just worried that they still have a master like that. Lin Yi said, just be careful. I understand. Don't worry, I won't do anything reckless. Hearing Lin Yi's concern filled Ling Shan's heart. She was so happy that she didn't know where she was anymore. If they really do have a master, give me a call, and I'll go help you. Lin Yi said after a sigh. With their current relationship, Lin Yi couldn't just watch Ling Shan do something dangerous. Lin Yi didn't want to be a busybody, but he still reminded her. All right, I got it. Ling Shan said, smiling happily. Chapter 1311. Free spokesperson, however, less than 15 minutes after Lin Yi hung up, his phone rang again. Lin Yi thought it was Ling Shan, so he picked it up without looking. Little girl, what's up? Ah, little girl? The person on the other side of the phone paused. Huh? Lenny could tell that it wasn't Ling Shan's voice too. You or I'm not, little girl. I'm Su Shirhan. Shirhan was speechless. Why was this guy so vulgar? Calling someone little girl just because he picked up the phone? If she didn't know Lin Yi's personality, she would have thought he was a pervert. Oh, that's little girl too. Little girl Su, what's up? Lin Yi said casually, not expecting Shirhan to call him. Su Shirhan was speechless. But whatever, so be it. She really was a little girl, wasn't she? Shirhan didn't care about the title. You said you'd help me make some headache medicine? I'm free today, so I'll go get it and take a picture with your friends? Shirhan's concert in Songshan had ended, and she was preparing to go to another city to continue her concert. So before she left, she wanted to say goodbye to Lin Yi and get some headache medicine. These few days, Shirhan's manager, Wang Sis, had contacted Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company and told them that Shirhan was going to be a free spokesperson. Fatty Lai was confused at first. A superstar that couldn't be hired even with money. Why did she want to be a spokesperson for free? And so, Fatty Lai suspected Wang Sis's identity. Was she a scammer? But after Wang Sis's explanation, Fatty Lai realized that Shirhan was Lin Yi's patient. Wang Sis didn't hide Su Shirhan's illness from Fatty Lai. Lin Yi and Xu Amin both knew about it, so there was no need to hide it from Fatty Lai. Fatty Lai finally understood. It was because of this. So, Fatty Lai didn't feel like he owed Su Shirhan anything by letting her be the spokesperson for free. How much could the endorsement fee be? One had to know that when Lin Yi treated patients with difficult-to-treat diseases, he would charge at least 10 million yuan. And so, Fatty Lai called Su Shirhan over and ordered her around, shooting promotional videos, shooting as many as he could. He even changed the packaging of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine to a new one, with Su Shirhan's picture on it. They even added a slogan. Do you want to have the flawless skin of a superstar? Please use Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine to heal the wound perfectly without leaving a scar. Even Wang Sis couldn't stand it anymore. Since when did Su Shirhan get ordered around like a servant? Even with such a high endorsement fee, they didn't shoot so many commercials and films. Wasn't this treating people too lightly? But Su Shirhan smiled and shook her head, indicating that it was nothing. Su Shirhan felt that since Lin Yi treated her as a friend and treated her for free, she should return the favor. Since they were friends, there was no need to be calculative. And Su Shirhan felt that the people around Lin Yi were the same as him. They didn't treat superstars as anything. She was pretty and cute, but this Fatty Lai acted like he didn't see her at all, talking to her with his eyes rolling around, thinking of ways to squeeze all of her value out of her, of course. What Su Shirhan didn't know was that Fatty Lai had already treated her as Lin Yi's spare tire. Who knew when she would become his official girlfriend? Fatty Lai wouldn't have any thoughts about his sister-in-law. But Miracle Dr. Guan's painkiller hadn't been mass-produced yet. There were only a few samples in the company. If Su Shirhan wanted it, she would have to get it from Lin Yi. Today? That's good. Lin Yi didn't have anything to do. I bought a bunch of seafood from the restaurant. Come eat with us. Seafood? Su Shirhan froze, but she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay, tell me the address. I'll go there now. The address is Seaview Villa Bay. Lin Yi told Su Shirhan the address. If you can't find it, use the GPS. Okay, wait for me. It was rare for Su Shirhan to have a friend, and they didn't have any ulterior motives. This made Su Shirhan feel at ease playing with them. Otherwise, it would be hard for Su Shirhan to have a close friend. Most women approached her because of her aura, while men approached her because they wanted dirty things. But Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were different. Both of them were nice, and after interacting with Fatty Lai, Su Shirhan realized that Lin Yi's friends were nice as well. The friends Lin Yi wanted to take photos with were probably nice too. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's arrogant personality, it would be hard for him to accept others. After hanging up, Xiao Xiao asked impatiently, Lin Yi, honey, is Su Shirhan coming? Yeah, she'll come to get the medicine later. You guys can play together. Lin Yi seemed to think that Su Shirhan coming to his house was a normal thing. If it were someone else, they'd be excited when a celebrity came to their house. That's great. Then we'll sing karaoke at home. and let Su Shirhan sing for us. Xiao Xiao said excitedly. I'll call Tang Yin sis right now. We'll go get her. Lin, he wasn't a fan, so he didn't understand how Su Shirhan's fans felt. Xiao Xiao told the exciting news to Meng Yao and Yushu as soon as they got home. Tang Yin was happy too, but she wasn't as lively as Xiao Xiao. She only smiled and greeted Meng Yao and Yushu. Tang Yun had become a regular in the villa, and she didn't feel restricted here. Then should we prepare some food for Su Shirhan tonight? Meng Yao was the owner of the villa. She couldn't neglect a guest. What's more, this guest was a superstar. Don't bother, I brought back a bunch of seafood. Lin, he raised the big bag of food in his hand. I bought it from Tyrant Fish Seafood Restaurant. There was an idiot who treated us today. Idiot? Meng Yao was confused. An idiot who wants to chase after Tang Yun. Lin, he explained simply, but Lin, he was too lazy to say anything about Zhao Fafa. Su Shirhan came as soon as she said she would. Lin, E, and the others were talking when the doorbell rang. Evidently, Su Shirhan was ready to leave after the call. They weren't familiar with the roads, but Lin, he had to go get Tang Yun for a while. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.